Apocalypse mobile phone system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 Uncle Wang Next Door. Xiao Lian, come here, I have something to tell you. Jin Lian's mother said to Jin Lian, who walked into the house and took a kitchen knife from the stove. Mom, wait for me for a moment, my brother wants to borrow a kitchen knife, I'll be back soon. Jin Lian said, took the kitchen knife and left the bungalow. Alice, this girl is so irritable. She is really a worry. Jin Lian's mother looked at Jin Lian's back as she walked towards the chicken coop in the north room, shook her head, picked up a thermos by the wall, shook it, and heard the sound in the kettle, which should be out of water. Jin Lian's mother opened the drawer of the cabinet and took out a wrinkled silver bag from it. The word tea was written on the outside of the bag. Jin Lian's mother took off the clip on the bag, poured a little tea leaves into the teapot, and then put the teapot on the table, opened the lid of the teapot, sat down next to the stove, took some firewood and put it under the stove, and lit a fire. The firelight reflected the old lady's face, which was unusually ruddy. It was a little cold, and it was a little warmer to light a fire. After a while, Jin Lian came back. Mom, I'm back. What did you want to tell me just now? Jin Lian pushed open the door and saw her mother burning a fire. Jin Lian, sit down, I want to talk to you. Jin Lian's mother pointed to the stool next to the table and motioned Jin Lian to sit down. Jin Lian sat on the mat as she was told, with her legs together and her hands on her knees. She looked at her mother. Mom, what's the matter? You go to the market alone every day to kill and sell chickens. You only come back to the chicken farm occasionally to deliver feed and get vaccinations. I don't even have time to talk to you when I see you. Mom, we meet every day, isn't it nice to meet? Besides, I'm busy in the market. Busy, busy, busy. You're already in your 20s, and you haven't found a husband yet. Why are you busy all day long? Your father passed away early, and if you don't find a husband, don't you think I, an old woman, will ever see you bring a son-in-law? Mom, what are you talking about? It's almost the new year and you're just saying unlucky things. Bah, bah, bah. Jin Lian said and spit to the side. I think this young man today is pretty good. Although he doesn't look very good, he at least looks strong. Unlike those young men nowadays, they have thin arms and legs and can be blown away by a gust of wind. Mom, what are you talking about? He is younger than me, how is this possible? And he just comes to buy chickens. Jin Lian stuck out her tongue, and her mother started nagging again. What's wrong with being small? You're not that old either. Although you started working after junior high school, Xiao Lian has a pretty face and a good figure. She can cook, wash clothes and run her own business. She is better than girls nowadays in every way. You are just too picky. You don't like this or that. Otherwise, I would have had my grandson a long time ago. Mom, don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing. Marriage is a lifelong thing. How can you just marry someone casually? At least the person should be nice and have a good temper. It doesn't matter whether he or she has money or a house. What's important is that he or she treats me well and is motivated. It's enough for the two of us to live a happy life together. A plain and happy life. This is the marriage I yearn for. Okay, I don't care. Just find me a son-in-law as soon as possible. I've told you so many times, but you won't listen. Your two sisters and brother are all married, but you, a half-grown girl, are not in a hurry. It really makes me angry. Jin Lian's mother poked Jin Lian's forehead with her finger, with an expression of disappointment, love and helplessness. Mom, I just want to stay with you more. Jin Lian snuggled up to her mother and rubbed her mother's face affectionately. You are the only one who can talk, do I still need you to accompany me? I will be very grateful if you can take care of your own future and not cause trouble for me. No more words, go to your Uncle Wang's house next door to borrow a pot of boiling water. The fat kid is coming to our house, and he is a guest. Shouldn't we make a pot of tea for him? Why are you running around like that? Okay, Mom, I'll go right away. Jin Lian picked up the thermos next to her and skipped to Uncle Wang's house next door to borrow water. No matter how old they are, everyone is always a child next to their mother. This girl. Jin Lian's mother looked at Jin Lian's back and shook her head. She was really a child who would never grow up. She made her worry. She lowered her head and continued to put a few firewood in the bottom of the pot. It was a bit cold, and burning a fire would warm her up a little. Uncle Wang. Uncle Wang. Who is it? A middle-aged man with white and gray hair opened the door. Isn't this Jin Lian from Old Li's family? What do you want to talk to me about? Uncle Wang, I'm here to pour a pot of boiling water. Do we have any at home? Yes, 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 come in quickly. I just boiled a few pots and there's nowhere to put them. I was thinking about sending a pot to your mother. Uncle Wang opened the door enthusiastically and let Jin Lian in. Thank you, Uncle Wang, I can pour it myself. No need to pour it, just take my pot. You put the thermos here, and fill another pot after it boils. I'll send it to you. I'm so sorry, just put it here, I'll come and get it later. Okay, you can drink from my pot first. Thank you, Uncle Wang. Why are you being so polite? We are all family. Then I'll go first, Uncle Wang. Go ahead. Uncle Wang looked at Jin Lian with a loving face. Old Li's family had guests coming, so I had to boil more water and chop some firewood. Uncle Wang took out an axe from the wall and came to the piles of sawn wood. It was no problem to make a fire, but to boil water, a separate kettle was needed. The wood was a bit big and couldn't fit in, so it had to be split. Pup, pup. Uncle Wang spat on his hands, wiped his lips, swung the axe and chopped the wood. Hey. Hey. Mom, I'm back. Jin Lian pushed open the door. The house had become much warmer because of the fire. Hurry up and make some tea. I'll let that fat boy drink some tea to warm himself up. Okay, Mom. Jin Lian filled the teapot with boiling water and covered it. The tea leaves need to be covered for a while before they can be soaked. Mom, Uncle Wang next door is so easy to talk to. Why doesn't he get married? He doesn't even have a child now. He is all alone and pitiful. When he gets older, who'll take care of him? In her impression, Uncle Wang has always been very good to her family, but this Uncle Wang has never married. Jin Lian can't help but feel sorry. Jin Lian's mother did not respond to Jin Lian's words, but just added some firewood to the bottom of the pot. Actually, your Uncle Wang and I are childhood sweethearts. Mom, what did you say? Jin Lian opened her mouth in shock. This Uncle Wang who has always lived next door is actually her mother's childhood sweetheart? Exclamation mark. Chapter 52 Life is short. Your Uncle Wang and I have been childhood sweethearts, and we have already pledged our lives together. Jin Lian's mother looked at the firewood burning at the bottom of the pot. The firelight reflected on her face, and the corners of her mouth rose slightly, as if she was thinking of something happy, and her thoughts went back to 10 years ago. At that time, we grew up together. We can be said to be good friends who grew up together wearing open crotch pants. As we grew up, our affection for each other became stronger and stronger. As time went by, we fell in love, so we pledged our lives together and swore to be together for the rest of our lives. When the time came for us to get married, he came to marry me. He is a famous handsome young man in this area. His family used to be a famous landlord in our village, the richest man in the area, but later, there he met with misfortune, was framed by villains, all his property and real estate were confiscated, and he was also locked up. It was said that he was locked up in the provincial prison and might never be released, and die in prison. I always believed that he would come back, and I waited and waited for countless years, but I never saw him again. I also went from being a beautiful girl in the past to an old girl. Later, your grandmother found a family in the next village for me and insisted that I marry them. Filial piety is the most important virtue. In order to carry on the family line and continue the incense, I stopped waiting for him and buried this feeling in my heart. Then I married Jin Lian from the next village, and I had your 2 sisters, a brother, and you. Mom, why didn't you tell me about this? Jin Lian had never heard her mother talk about this past, so it was a little hard for her to accept it. Her mother and Uncle Wang next door were childhood sweethearts, and they had such a painful memory. In the end, they couldn't be together. Jin Lian felt that Uncle Wang and her mother were so pitiful. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she felt unfair and unwilling for them. You were still young before, and you couldn't understand what I told you. Later, the unjust case was overturned, but the confiscated property was not returned, and the people were freed. Then your Uncle Wang came back, but at that time, I already had a family and children, and I couldn't make any promises to him. I felt sorry for him. We agreed to get married privately, but I secretly got married and had children. Mom, you can't be blamed for this. No one would have any hope in the situation at that time. Jin Lian looked at her mother's face and felt sorry. Later, Your father got drunk and died in a car accident on his way back on a motorcycle. It was even more difficult for me to support our family alone. Fortunately, your two sisters were very sensible and became independent early, and helped support the family together. What happened later? Later, your Uncle Wang was released and moved next door. Although we couldn't be together like before, we were neighbors, taking care of each other, and being able to see each other every day, basking in the sun and chatting about the past. We were already satisfied. That's great. When I get older, I want to bask in the sun and talk about the past with my beloved. Little girl, go find that fat boy to have tea. He has been making a mess in the north room for so long. What is he doing? I know, Mom, I'll go right away. Jinlian got up and went to the north room. Jinlian's mother looked at the fire at the bottom of the pot and once again fell into the memories of the past, smiling from time to time and frowning from time to time. Not long after, Jinlian came back, but her brows were furrowed, and she looked absent-minded, as if she was thinking about something. Jinlian, why are you back? Where's that boy? Jinlian's mother asked Jinlian to call Xiao Yao to come for tea, but now only Jinlian came back, and she couldn't help but wonder. He's still killing chickens, and he said he wanted to kill all the chickens he bought. What a freak. How many chickens did he buy? He wanted to kill them all. He gave me 20,000 first, and said he wanted more than 2,000 chickens. Jinlian raised the 2 stacks of banknotes in her hand. Then this young man is really strange. Killing chickens in a chicken farm will be a hard job to clean up. Mom, he said he would clean it up for us when the time comes. Oh, that's fine, let him kill them. Mom, I still think that we should stay at Uncle Wang's house next door first. It's a bit strange for this man to kill chickens in a chicken farm. He might have some mental problems. Now it's impossible to sentence a mentally ill person who kills someone. To be on the safe side, let's go to Uncle Wang's house next door and see what happens after he kills the chickens. If he is mentally ill, we will call the police directly. Okay, let's go to your Uncle Wang's house. Your Uncle Wang said there is a stove, which is warmer. It seems that this young man needs to be observed more. After saying that, Jinlian's mother simply packed up, opened the door and went to Uncle Wang's house next door. Mom, slow down, wait for me. Jinlian saw her mother running so fast for the first time. Is this the physical strength that a middle-aged woman over 50 should have? The door was not locked. Jinlian's mother pushed open the door of Uncle Wang next door and said, Old Wang, my mother and I come to your house to keep warm. Do you mind? Hey, what are you talking about? We are old neighbors. You don't have to be polite. Just treat this place as your own home. Then I won't be polite, Jinlian's mother said, pulling a stool and sitting next to the stove, stretching out her hands to surround the stove. It's good to have a stove. Wait a few days, let Jinlian build me a stove. We are so close, you can just come to my house to warm up, why bother? That won't work, I can't come every day, what's more, I have to watch the chickens at home, I can't go out every day. Then I'll help you build a stove some other day. Uncle Wang thought for a while. I'll buy you a stove and install it for you some other day. If you go and buy it, you don't know what kind of stove is easy to burn. Then I have to thank Brother Wang. You are being too polite. Uncle Wang, Jinlian came in but did not interrupt. She stayed quietly aside and waited until they finished talking before she politely greeted Uncle Wang. Hey, okay, come sit down. Uncle Wang saw Jinlian standing aside and hurriedly brought a stool to Jinlian to sit down. Come and sit down. It's still warm by the stove. I'll go out and chop some firewood. After saying that, Uncle Wang opened the door and continued to chop firewood in the yard. While Jinlian's mother was warming herself in the house, her eyes were full of Brother Wang chopping firewood outside. Jinlian looked at her mother and then at Uncle Wang outside. Although they could not be together now due to secular morality, there was a kind of love that did not necessarily have to be together. They could see each other every day and simply greet each other, which would give them great satisfaction. Jinlian suddenly envied their love. After all, life is short, and it is not easy to meet someone who loves you. Chapter 53 Spiritual Love. Hey. Outside the house, Uncle Wang swung his axe and chopped wood, swinging it rhythmically, chopping it down, and shouting rhythmically. The rhythm was like a beautiful melody, the melody of labor. People in it were more intoxicated with their labor through the shouts coming out of their mouths, and Jinlian's mother in the house was also intoxicated by the beauty of labor. Workers are the most beautiful people. If there's anything more beautiful than this, it must be that the person who works is exactly the one she loves. Mom, you are single now, and Uncle Wang is also single. Why don't you be together now? Jinlian looked at her mother and said, since they love each other so much, why don't they be together? After all, they are both single. Although she didn't know whether her sisters and brothers agreed or not, Jinlian agreed 100,000 times. It's not that we haven't thought about this issue. We even planned for a while how to tell you and the villagers, but then we gave up, Jinlian's mother said softly while looking at Uncle Wang outside. We are not young anymore. There is no need for us to be together. Besides, if we are together at this age, we will have to endure so many people's cold words, which is also unfair to you brothers and sisters. We don't want to be old and have to endure the accusations and rumors behind our backs. It's good to just be neighbors. Jinlian's mother responded. Some love is not just a formality. It is the sublimation of love and love at the spiritual level. It is more difficult than simply possessing. Uncle Wang is a good person. If you want to be together, I will never object. Jinlian looked at Uncle Wang and then at her mother and said seriously that they have grown up and are independent. She doesn't mind her mother looking for her own happiness. She also believes that her brothers and sisters will see her mother's happiness. Silly child, we don't need you to take care of our affairs. If you take care of your own life, you will be doing us a great favor. Jinlian's mother looked at Jinlian with a loving face. She was very happy that Jinlian thought so. After all, this was the reason why she and Uncle Wang didn't know how to talk to the children at the beginning. Unexpectedly, their children supported them. This was enough. Even if the whole world betrayed them, their children supported them. Nothing could make people feel more at ease than this. Mom, I know. After talking about it, it came back to her. Jinlian turned her head and pouted her lips to protest. You kid. Jinlian's mother shook her head and said that others were serious and reasonable, but she didn't say anything when it came to her. At this moment, a scream came from outside the house. It was Uncle Wang who was chopping wood in the yard. Uncle Wang threw away his axe. Jinlian's mother quickly got up, opened the door, and came to the yard. What's wrong, Brother Wang? Jinlian's mother saw Uncle Wang covering his left hand, and blood was dripping from the stitches on his hand. What's wrong with your hand? Hey, it's nothing. I got a cut from the split wood. Uncle Wang saw Jinlian's mother's concerned look, and the pain was relieved by 8 points. Let me see, why are you so careless? Jinlian's mother pulled Uncle Wang's hand apart, and saw a long cut at the base of his left hand. Blood was flowing down the wound. Although it was not an artery, the cut was quite large and had to be bandaged. No, you must go to the clinic to bandage it, don't do it anymore. Jinlian's mother pulled Uncle Wang out to the clinic. Yes, Uncle Wang, go to the clinic to bandage it. Jinlian also said anxiously. Girls are afraid of blood, especially seeing Uncle Wang bleeding a lot. The ground has been dyed dark red. No, this is nothing. In the past, in prison, injuries bigger than this didn't need to be bandaged. You guys are making a fuss. Uncle Wang looked at the wound on his palm. I have gauze, iodine and tape in my room. I can bandage it myself. If I go to the clinic for such a small injury, I will be a mess. Uncle Wang left Jinlian and her mother and went into the house. Jinlian and her mother followed him in. Found it, Uncle Wang searched through the boxes for a long time and found a tied plastic bag. Sister, help me bandage it. It's inconvenient for me to use one hand. Uncle Wang handed the plastic bag to Jinlian's mother and sat on the stool next to the stove. I can't say anything to you about your bad temper. For such a big cut, just bandage it yourself at home. Jinlian's mother took the plastic bag, untied it, took out gauze, tape, and iodine from it, squatted down, first cleaned Uncle Wang's injured hand with iodine, and then carefully bandaged Uncle Wang's left hand with gauze, while talking angrily about Uncle Wang. During the years I spent in prison, I got hurt every day. No one cared about me. Only when I was seriously ill would I be released on medical parole. For minor injuries, they wouldn't even give me a bandage. I've gotten used to it. Uncle Wang talked about his past as if it was as easy as a scratch. Jinlian and the others couldn't imagine the difficulty. Prison is a dark place. On the first day, no matter what crime you committed, you will be hit on the back of your head with a stick. How long you will be unconscious depends on your willpower. Don't expect the person who hits you with a stick to show mercy, because it's not the prison guard who hits you with a stick, but the last person who is hit. Just imagine how much force he will have. Some people were knocked unconscious by a stick and never woke up again. Some people were lucky enough to wake up and then really started their dark prison life. I'm sorry, Brother Wang, you suffered so much, but I can't help you at all. Jinlian's mother slowly wrapped Uncle Wang's hands, tears flashing in her eyes. There is a kind of pain, which is to see the loved one injured, but you can't do anything about it. Only those who have experienced this kind of pain will understand it, and it is the feeling of wishing that you could get injured for him. Silly girl, you don't have to blame yourself. This is my destiny. Uncle Wang touched Jinlian's mother's gray hair lovingly. You're old, and your hair is all white. Aren't you too? Jinlian's mother looked up at Uncle Wang and pushed away Uncle Wang's hand. The child is still here. Ahem. Uncle Wang retracted his right hand awkwardly. Jinlian, I think she has grown up well since she was a child. She is a good child. Why doesn't she find a boyfriend yet? We are all waiting to eat your wedding candy. Uncle Wang, I'm already looking for one, but I haven't found the right one yet. If there is a suitable one, I will bring it to you to see. Jinlian felt a headache. Why did the elders care so much about the marriage problems of the younger generation? Really? Well, you guys chat first, I'll go out for a walk. After Jinlian finished speaking, she opened the door and went out. The sky was gradually darkening. At some point, a faint haze was quietly beginning to spread. Chapter 54 Level 10. When a person repeats mechanical actions countless times, he will become more and more numb. For example, now, Xiao Yao has been killing chickens for several hours. He used to feel a little pity and shame for the chickens in the beginning, but now he is numb. He is like a mechanical arm, taking the chickens out of the cage, killing them and throwing them back into the cage. Although he is tired in the middle, all the fatigue in his body will be swept away after upgrading, and his whole body will be full of strength. However, when Xiao Yao killed the last chicken, he almost collapsed on the ground due to exhaustion. The closer he got to the end, the more experience he needed to upgrade. Since he reached level 9, he hasn't upgraded for nearly an hour. So this nearly 1 hour mechanical killing of chickens almost made Xiao Yao exhausted. The experience gained from killing chickens now is already a drop in the bucket. Xiao Yao sat tiredly on the bag of chicken feed in the corner and looked at his personal information. Xiao Yao, level 9 combat power, 34, 37, health, 188/188 hunger, 10/100 attack, 11-12 strength, 9, each 1 point of strength increases health by 1 and attack by 1, agility, 9 intelligence, 16 experience, 2,470 2,560 inches. He is about to upgrade. If he kills 45 more broiler chickens, he will be able to reach level 10. When he reaches level 10, he can learn bodybuilding skills. However, all the chickens in this room have been killed by Xiao Yao. Looking at the room that is like a purgatory for chickens, Xiao Yao adjusted his reconnaissance glasses. Now his reconnaissance glasses are just used as myopic glasses. The reconnaissance skill has been automatically turned off for a while because the remaining money in the mobile phone space has long been consumed. It costs 1 yuan per second to activate this skill. Fortunately, these chickens should drop some money. He has to pick up money now, not only to activate the skill, but Xiao Yao still has 20,000 yuan. I haven't paid the balance to Sister Jinlian yet. I hope these chickens can drop more money, and it would be even better if there are some unexpected surprises. Xiao Yao took out the soul locking bead and body strengthening technique from his phone space, so that there are 3 spaces in his phone space, and he still needs to take away these chickens. Because the detection glasses have lost their function, Xiao Yao can only take out his phone and randomly collect the things in the chicken cooperative. Gurgle. Finally the collection was completed. Xiao Yao, who was about to check his harvest, heard his stomach growling. It seemed that he had to prepare some food. Looking at the hunger level displayed on his phone, it had reached 5/100. If he didn't eat something, he would probably lose blood due to hunger. Xiao Yao didn't want to experience the feeling of losing blood. Each chicken cost 5 yuan, so after deducting the balance to Sister Jinlian, there would be 2,500 yuan left. However, Xiao Yao could not activate the reconnaissance skill for the time being. This amount of money was not enough for 1 hour. What's more, the skill could not be upgraded now. It's better to save it and use it when needed. The backpack added 3 slots for chicken. The soul locking bead and body forging technique could not be placed. Xiao Yao had to put them all in his trouser pocket for the time being. The most regrettable thing was that after killing so many chickens, there was not a small boss or anything. Apart from chicken and money, nothing else dropped. After collecting the spoils, Xiao Yao looked at the bloody house, the chicken feathers and blood everywhere, and felt a little overwhelmed. Was he a little too reckless? How could he explain to Sister Jinlian that so many chicken carcasses disappeared inexplicably? The secret of the mobile phone space was a secret that he hadn't even told his parents and family. He hadn't thought things through. This was a bit difficult. Xiao Yao felt a headache and thought for a long time about how to explain to Jinlian. How about this? He should go and tell Sister Jinlian to hand over the house to him for a day and find someone to clean it. Well, that's it. Sister Jinlian shouldn't come in to check on the dead chickens in the house. After thinking of the reason, Xiao Yao walked to the door, opened the window, and shouted to the bungalow in the south, "Sister Jinlian, open the door, I'm done." There was no response. The sky outside was already a little gray, and it looked like it would be dark soon. How long have I been killing chickens? It's almost dark. Xiao Yao looked down at the time. Oh my god, it's already past 5 o'clock. Did Sister Jinlian see me killing chickens and go home to cook? Jinlian hadn't come to see Xiao Yao for a long time. She was afraid that Xiao Yao was really addicted to killing chickens and would do something else. But Xiao Yao was just killing chickens, and she had no way to call the police. Besides, Xiao Yao also gave her money, so Jinlian took her mother and quietly ran to the next-door neighbor Uncle Wang's house to hide. If Xiao Yao had no problem, she would come back to ask for money. If there was a problem, she would call the police directly. I can't stay here all night. Xiao Yao pulled the door, and there was a lock on the outside. It seems that I have to break the door, and I'll change the door for Sister Jinlian another day. After Xiao Yao thought about it, he pulled the door, and there seemed to be no response. Xiao Yao tried to use all his strength and pulled it back. Click. The door was opened. This door was made of wood and was quite old. The lock seat that was fixed with screws was pulled out, but the lock was still on the side of the door. It seemed that the 9 points of strength were not a lie. This was comparable to the full strength attack of a relatively outstanding athlete. Although Xiao Yao's combat power was 34 at this time, don't forget that the pure strength is only 9. For a relatively outstanding athlete, if the combat power is 11, then the main attribute of the athlete is most likely strength, and strength is the attribute that determines attack. Each point of strength increases 1 blood and 1 attack. This is what Xiao Yao knows now. As for agility and intelligence, Xiao Yao doesn't know what they are for yet, and he has no spell attacks. Could this intelligence be IQ? Sister Jinlian? And Xiao Yao came to the bungalow and called out to Jinlian and Ant, but no one responded. Xiao Yao fumbled to turn on the light on the wall. The room was empty, and there was still sporadic flames flickering under the pot, proving that they should have been burning a fire not long ago. There was a king next to it, and no one was on it. That's strange. Where did Sister Jinlian go? Xiao Yao turned around and found that there was no one there. He came to the gate and prepared to open it to go out and see. Creaky, creaky. The door could not be opened. Oh my god, the door is locked from the outside. What is Sister Jinlian thinking? Is she going to lock me in here? The sound of chickens crowing came from the north room. Because Sister Jinlian's family raised 5,000 chickens, there were 2,500 in the room next door. I only need 45 chickens to upgrade. I might as well kill a few more from the 2,500 chickens next to Sister Jinlian. Anyway, I still have 2,500 left, which is enough to pay for these 45 chickens. Xiao Yao walked to the room on the right. There was a lock on the door, but it was not locked. Xiao Yao saved the trouble of looking for the key. He entered the door and turned on the wall lights and exhaust fan. Goal, level 10, start. After about a quarter of an hour, a faint light flashed. Ding, level up, current level 10. The moment the level was increased, Xiao Yao couldn't wait to take out the book of bodybuilding from his trouser pocket. It was over. Xiao Yao didn't know how to study the book of bodybuilding in his hand. Xiao Yao patted the book with his hand, but there was no response. He patted his head with the book, but there was no response. Did he have to study in the mobile phone space? But the mobile phone space is still full. To put the bodybuilding in, he needs to take out all the other things. Looking at the 5 spaces of the mobile phone are full of items, because Xiao Yao tried it, except for money, which can be deposited and withdrawn in batches. These items can only be deposited and withdrawn one by one. So Xiao Yao was a little confused at this time. If he had known earlier, he would have left a space just now. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, Bodybuilding Technique. Xiao Yao looked at the full items in his phone space and felt a headache. It seemed that he had to take them out one by one, because the bodybuilding technique must be learned immediately. Learning one more skill would give him a little more guarantee for survival in the future. Ding. Survive one day, space +1. A reminder appeared on the phone. Xiao Yao had never liked this reminder as much as he did at this moment. It was really like someone sent a pillow when he was sleepy and someone sent a cake when he was hungry. At this time, a space was added to the phone space. Xiao Yao couldn't wait to use his phone to collect a bodybuilding technique. Sure enough, a line of words can be learned appeared below. What are you waiting for? Xiao Yao couldn't wait to click on the learning button. A small ray of light shot out from the phone space and sank into Xiao Yao's forehead. Xiao Yao was shocked by this way of learning. This way of learning was direct enough. Then Xiao Yao felt something entering his mind. A sense of inexplicable feeling spread throughout his body. Xiao Yao seemed to suddenly understand something, but he didn't know what he understood. The bodybuilding technique in the phone space also slowly disappeared. Seeing the bodybuilding technique disappear in the phone, Xiao Yao knew that the bodybuilding technique should have been successfully learned. He clicked on the skill bar to read the instructions. Physical training level 1, passive, only a body that has withstood thousands of trials and tribulations can be invincible. If you want to learn how to attack, you must first learn how to defend, and the best defense is to not break the defense. Defense +1, life +1, life restored per minute +1, 1 proficiency gained for every 1 life consumed, current proficiency 0/10000. Oh my god, Xiao Yao looked at the skill introduction. Is this the martial arts secret that the old man once talked about? I thought it was a heaven-defying skill, but I didn't expect it to be just a basic skill that slightly increased the upper limit of life and life recovery, and it was also a passive skill. Only when I lose blood can I increase my proficiency. How can I lose blood? Should I cut myself and bleed slowly? And I can't cut too big, because I can only restore 1 life. If I cut too big, and then bleed to death, wouldn't it be a big loss? However, since it is a physical training skill, it should be to train my ability to resist blows. Just find someone to attack me. Alice, am I destined to be beaten like this? Fortunately, even if it is not upgraded, it is still useful, such as this recovery of 1 life, which is better than nothing. Ah! A shrill woman's scream came from outside. Xiao Yao was startled by the sudden scream. What happened outside? Xiao Yao quickly pushed open the door and ran outside. Squeak! Someone in the bungalow also quickly pushed open the door. It was Sister Jinlian who came out. Xiao Yao and Sister Jinlian looked at each other with solemn expressions. Xiao Yao didn't know when Sister Jinlian came back, but what Xiao Yao was more concerned about at the moment was who made this shrill scream. Huh? There was a faint smell of urea in the air. Xiao Yao sniffed the air and looked at the sky that had already darkened. Is this fog? Although it was relatively light, why did the fog appear now? According to memory, should it be the morning of December 5th, 2 days later? It's only the evening of December 2nd, and it's foggy? Since I was reborn, many things have gone wrong. Did the thick fog come early? Who made this scream just now? Ah! Another scream came, much smaller than the previous one, but Xiao Yao could tell it was next door. The sound came from over there, go check it out. Xiao Yao said to Jin Lian, who had already come to Xiao Yao's side. Compared to the blood on Xiao Yao's body, Jin Lian was more afraid of this unknown scream. Okay. Jin Lian followed Xiao Yao out of the door. The scream came from Uncle Wang's house next door. Although she couldn't tell who was shouting, Jin Lian's heart was beating fast, because Jin Lian felt that this voice was so much like her mother's. Is anyone there? Xiao Yao came to the front door and asked inside. After all, he couldn't just go into someone else's house. There was no response from inside, only some strange sounds came out faintly. My mother is here? This is Uncle Wang's house next door. Jinlian whispered on the side. Squeak. No one responded from inside. Xiao Yao tried. The door was not locked. Xiao Yao pushed the door open. Baji. Baji. Pushing open the door, the strange sound became more obvious. Only one small bungalow was still lit. Xiao Yao and the others slowly moved to the window following the light. When they slowly came to the window, they saw a middle-aged man with gray hair in the house with his back to them. There was a person lying in front of him. The ground was already covered with blood. The scene was very strange and terrifying. Uncle Wang. Jinlian recognized his back. This was Uncle Wang. Could the person lying on the ground be her mother? Uncle Wang, who had his back to them, slowly turned his head after hearing Jinlian's voice. Ah! When Uncle Wang turned his head, Jinlian raised her hands in fear and screamed louder than the scream she had just heard. Xiao Yao did not scream. He held the window with both hands to make his body stand up. Uncle Wang turned his head and his eyes were wide and his black pupils were gone. There was blood on his mouth. There was still a piece of uneaten intestine hanging in his mouth. His hands were still holding an unknown internal organ. Not good. Xiao Yao saw this. How could he not know what happened? This middle-aged man must have mutated, fogged up in advance. So did the mutation also come early? Exclamation mark. Mom. Seeing Uncle Wang stand up, Jinlian finally saw who the person lying on the ground was. It was her mother. At this time Jinlian's mother was lying there quietly, without life. The clothes on her belly were torn. Flesh and internal organs were stained with bright red blood, torn out by Uncle Wang. Everywhere. Mom. Another heartbreaking cry. Jinlian was already crying. Jinlian grabbed the door handle and was about to open the door. You're crazy. Xiao Yao quickly grabbed Jinlian's hand. Going in at this time would be like sending me to tiger's mouth. Would it be like going in to die? I want to go in to see my mother. That was her mother. She wanted to go in to see her mother. No matter how dangerous it was, she had to go in. Jinlian completely forgot what fear was. Hungry. Seeing two fresh lives coming outside the house, Uncle Wang gave up the bodies he had already obtained. Nothing could make his blood boil more than the two fresh lives outside the door, because in his eyes, he only saw those beating hearts, and there was only a voice in his heart, which hypnotized him deep in his heart. That's delicious. I want to eat those beating hearts. Chapter 56 Human Race. The mutated middle-aged man quickly stood up, staring at the two people outside the window with his empty white eyes, and then quickly ran towards Xiao Yao and the others. The bungalow was only a few steps away. Almost instantly, the middle-aged man leaned on the window and slapped the window with both hands. His intelligence had degenerated. He didn't know why he couldn't catch the delicious food in front of him. He kept making low roars from time to time, and the flesh and blood that he hadn't finished eating fell out of his open mouth. Blood mixed with saliva, and strands of bright red liquid flowed down the corners of his mouth, deeply stimulating the senses of the two people outside the window. Unable to eat the delicious food in front of him, the middle-aged man slapped the window harder and harder. Ah! Jinlian was so scared that she grabbed Xiao Yao's arm the moment she saw Uncle Wang running over. Seeing the terrifying face close at hand on the glass, the two people unconsciously stepped back a few steps. Xiao Yao was also startled by this sudden change. Crack! The glass was constantly slapped by the middle-aged man, and there was already a crack. No, run! Xiao Yao took Jinlian's hand and stepped back quickly. He took a look at the glass that was about to collapse, turned around and pulled Jinlian to run out of the yard. The detection glasses had not been turned on just now, so at this time, Xiao Yao could not determine the combat power of this unknown threat. He saved his life first. Xiao Yao did not want to experience the despair of having his heart grabbed out again. If someone saw Xiao Yao and the others at this time, they would definitely be shocked. A 160-pound fat man actually ran at the speed of a national athlete's sprint, especially this fat man was holding someone, and the woman behind him was almost dragged by him. The two people ran desperately to the original room. Xiao Yao and the others ran into the yard, locked the door from the inside, and then ran to the bungalow. Xiao Yao, who was worried, locked the door of the bungalow from the inside. Who? The two people collapsed on the ground, leaning against the wall, and did not care whether the ground was cold enough to freeze their buttocks. Roar. A low roar that went straight to the bottom of the heart came from next door. A trace of pain came from Xiao Yao's heart, as if a needle pierced his heart. Crack. Then there was the sound of the glass next door shattering and falling to the ground. Xiao Yao and his friends were already extremely nervous and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Xiao Yao had obviously reached level 10, but when he really met a mutant, Xiao Yao was still extremely scared. Xiao Yao was afraid of death, but who was not afraid of death? Especially Xiao Yao, who had been reborn once, was even more afraid of death. He didn't want to experience the feeling of rebirth again. Xiao Yao was also afraid. What if he died again? Could he be reborn again? After rebirth, would he still be himself? Xiao Yao didn't dare to gamble, so he ran back. Jinlian. Xiao Yao looked at Jinlian. He just seemed to hear Jinlian calling the person lying there mom, and it seemed that Jinlian also knew the middle-aged man. Why is your mother there? Who is that middle-aged man? Xiao Yao did not ask Jinlian why they became like this, because Xiao Yao knew that Jinlian might not know as much as he did. He just wanted to confirm who they were. The one lying there is my mother, and the murderer is Uncle Wang next door. He is my mother's childhood sweetheart. Jinlian sobbed softly after she finished speaking. She was also afraid that too loud noises would attract Uncle Wang. Isn't Uncle Wang my mother's childhood sweetheart? Why did he kill my mother? Aren't they two people in love? Why? Jinlian didn't know that Uncle Wang at this moment was no longer the Uncle Wang he used to be. She thought that this Uncle Wang killed her mother because he couldn't get the love she wanted and turned hatred into love. Uncle Wang's mind was twisted and he had become a perverted murderer. He not only killed her mother, but also ate her internal organs. Her mother left her, and Jinlian couldn't accept this fact. No, this is not real, I must be dreaming. Bang! Jinlian slapped herself in the face. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of her mouth and slid onto the clothes in front of her. Tears flowed from the corner of Jinlian's eyes again. Jinlian bit her lips tightly. It hurt, it really hurt, which meant that this was not a dream, all this was real. I want to call 120, Mom can still be saved, Mom must still be saved. Jinlian fumbled frantically for a while, and finally tremblingly took out the mobile phone from her clothes pocket, and tried to make a call. Her hands, stained with tears and blood from the corners of her mouth, could not unlock the smartphone in her hand for a while. After unlocking it several times, the entire mobile phone screen was blurred by handprints. Jinlian pressed it randomly, and then threw the phone directly against the wall. The phone fell and turned over several times, lying quietly on the ground. The screen was shattered. From beginning to end, Jinlian did not unlock the phone. If it happened again, Jinlian would definitely buy a keypad phone, but there is no if. If it happened again, Jinlian would never let her mother go to Uncle Wang's house next door for refuge. It was she who killed her mother. If she had let her mother go next door, her mother would not have suffered such a tragic hand. Jinlian slapped her head, she hated herself. Don't call, the phone has no signal. When Jinlian wanted to call 120, Xiao Yao had already taken out his mobile phone and called it. There was not even a prompt tone of the number you dialed could not be connected at the moment. Because it could not be dialed at all. Gurgle. Xiao Yao's stomach made an inopportune sound at this time. His hunger level was estimated to be 0. If he didn't replenish his energy, he would really lose blood from hunger. He listened carefully to the sound next door, but didn't find Xiao Yao and his friends. The next door had gradually become quiet. Xiao Yao looked at Sister Jinlian across from him. She probably was also hungry. If she wanted to survive, she must have enough physical strength. Otherwise, if she encountered a mutant, she would not even have the strength to run. Wouldn't it be unfair to die? Xiao Yao opened the skill bar of his mobile phone and turned on the detection function. The mutation started in advance. Xiao Yao would not give the money in his mobile phone to Sister Jinlian for the time being. He had to save his life first. Zzzz, a burst of blue light extended from Xiao Yao's eyes to the distance, and the blue circle reappeared in his left eye's field of vision. Xiao Yao looked at Jinlian, who was still slumped on the ground across from him. Ding ding, the blue circle scanned Jinlian's body. Name, Jinlian, race, human, level 1, combat power 10, health 34 out of 100 inches. Xiao Yao focused his eyes on Jinlian again, and confirmed Sister Jinlian's attributes again and again. Why did Sister Jinlian's race have a human behind it? And, Sister Jinlian, why is her health only 34? What's going on? Exclamation mark. Chapter 57, Random Mission. Xiao Yao quickly glanced at his avatar, and saw that the value of the health bar on the right side of the avatar had also changed. Health 134/200 inches. When did he lose blood? Why didn't he feel anything except being very hungry? His hunger level had reached 0, so he would lose 1 health point every minute. But he had already learned the bodybuilding technique. Don't forget that the bodybuilding technique can restore 1 health point every minute, so the health recovery and blood loss were equal. So, where did he lose blood? Xiao Yao glanced at the sky outside. It was already dark. With the light from the house, a thin layer of white fog was visible to the naked eye. Could it be? Is it because of the fog? Xiao Yao had rested for half a day and had already recovered some of his strength. He stood up, stretched out his hand to hold the door handle, looked outside with a serious face, and looked at his health bar again. Life? 134/200 inches. Xiao Yao pushed open the door and came to the yard. The moment Xiao Yao pushed open the door and came to the yard, Xiao Yao saw an icon appeared under the rectangular bar of his hunger. Xiao Yao focused his eyes on this icon and saw a line of words on the right side of the icon. Zombie virus 1 layer, lose 1 blood per minute, and add 1 layer every 1 minute. When the life is less than 1%, it will be transformed into the undead race, zombie. Life? 133 out of 200 inches. After staying in the yard for a minute, Xiao Yao saw that his life value had indeed dropped by 1. He couldn't stay any longer. Xiao Yao quickly ran back to the house and quickly closed the door. Xiao Yao closed the door, leaned his back against the wall, and gasped for breath. This time, Xiao Yao finally knew how these mutant creatures were formed, and the detection glasses also gave Xiao Yao the fact that he had been unwilling to admit, that is, these mutants were really zombies. Xiao Yao had never wanted to admit that those people were zombies. Whether it was Kei Zhang who killed him last time, or the middle-aged man who killed people next door this time, Xiao Yao did not want to admit that they were zombies. He selectively ignored this problem and still had illusions that these were just some humans who had temporarily lost their minds. If they were treated properly, they might change back. Unexpectedly, in the end, these mutants became undead creatures, zombies. Their race had changed. Could they really become humans again? If they were sick and mutated, they could be arrested by the police and sent to hospitals and mental hospitals for treatment. If they really became zombies, they might have to fight each other in the future, and it would be a life and death battle. These zombies were all humans before, their own kind. Even among these zombies, there would be their own classmates and friends. Could they still change from zombies to humans? Xiao Yao was also unable to confirm. The only thing he could be sure of was that the thick fog in front of him was actually poisonous. Exposure to the thick fog would cause poisoning. The longer the exposure time, the more serious the poisoning. Xiao Yao calculated that an ordinary person with a health value of 100 would mutate into a zombie in just 13 minutes. With his own health value of 200, he could only be exposed to the thick fog for 19 minutes, because the poisoning state was superimposed. The closer to the end, the more layers of superposition. At this moment, Xiao Yao saw Jinlian stand up and walk towards him. "What are you doing?" Xiao Yao saw Jinlian's eyes at this time, and his heart skipped a beat. What kind of eyes was that? Neither sad nor happy, empty and soulless? Yes, empty. Sister Jinlian seemed like a walking corpse at this moment. If it weren't for the information fed back by the detection glasses telling Xiao Yao that Sister Jinlian in front of him was still a human being, Xiao Yao would have run away directly. Xiao Yao was not afraid that he could not beat Jinlian, but he could not change his mindset for a while. Xiao Yao couldn't bring himself to kill Jinlian, who was a business partner, friend, and fellow human just now. Although Xiao Yao was a burly fat man, Xiao Yao had never killed any other animals except chickens before. If it wasn't for upgrading, Xiao Yao would not have killed chickens. "Where's the kitchen knife?" Sister Jinlian looked at Xiao Yao expressionlessly. "What kitchen knife?" Xiao Yao was relieved when he heard Jinlian speak. Fortunately, Sister Jinlian was still a human being. "The kitchen knife you used to kill the chicken. Is it in the north room? You can't go out." Xiao Yao saw Sister Jinlian was about to open the door, and hurriedly grabbed Sister Jinlian's hand. At this time, Sister Jinlian only had 34 drops of blood. If she was exposed to the thick fog, she would become a zombie in 7 minutes. He couldn't watch Sister Jinlian become a zombie. "I want to kill the tartless man and avenge my mother." Sister Jinlian gritted her teeth and said. Sister Jinlian cried for a long time, and her eyes were already bloodshot. She had lost her father and now her mother. A few hours ago, She and her mother were still chatting together. Thinking of this, Jinlian's eyes became redder, and tears rolled in her eyes again. Jinlian couldn't accept this fact. She wanted to avenge her mother, no matter how cruel that person was. You're crazy. That person is no longer a human. He's a zombie. A zombie. Xiao Yao grabbed Sister Jinlian's arm with both hands, shook it hard, and pointed at the thick fog outside. Do you see the fog outside? This thick fog is poisonous. As long as you stay in this thick fog for 13 minutes, you will become a zombie that eats people like that person just now. What did you say? Jinlian turned her head and looked at Xiao Yao woodenly. Zombies. Yes, the world is going to change. I don't know where this thick fog came from, and I don't know how long it will last, and whether anyone will come to rescue. I only know that what we are facing next is to survive, do everything we can to survive, and wait for the army to rescue us. I believe that China will not give up on us. Zombies. Sister Jinlian repeated this word again, and for a while she couldn't accept this fact. After all, zombies have only been seen in movies. In reality? How could there be such a virus? If Uncle Wang has become a zombie, then is there any need to avenge this revenge? Thinking of Uncle Wang's terrifying face just now, Jinlian shuddered coldly, and recovered from her blank expression just now, with a trace of human expression, that is, the expression of fear. If Uncle Wang was a human, Jinlian would not be afraid, but when she knew that Uncle Wang had become a zombie, the unknown horror was the most terrifying, and Jinlian retreated. Xiao Yao? Xiao Yao. Since you know about zombies, you can definitely help me get revenge, right? Help me kill Uncle Wang. Help me get revenge for my mother. Jinlian grabbed Xiao Yao's arm. She placed her hopes on Xiao Yao at this time. After all, as a woman, she was far from fighting against zombies, and Xiao Yao looked very strong, and he would definitely help her kill Uncle Wang who had turned into a zombie. Xiao Yao looked at Jinlian's expectant eyes and wanted to help Jinlian get revenge, but he was a little hesitant in his heart. With his own strength, could he defeat the fierce zombie just now? What if he died again? Although he has reached level 10 this time, his combat power doesn't seem to be very high. Xiao Yao originally thought that he still had 2 days to reach level 20 to have the strength to protect himself. However, now, he is only level 10. Is he really going to take risks for someone he just met not long ago? Random task, help Jinlian get revenge. Get EXP 100 and a mysterious gift bag. Chapter 58 Power Outage. Xiao Yao's eyes widened as he looked at the prompt box that appeared on the screen. So, the task was released like this? At present, it seems that the 2 tasks were triggered when others asked for help from him. After rebirth, the system does not release tasks autonomously. At least, the system has not released tasks autonomously. If he was a little hesitant about whether to help Sister Jinlian to avenge, then now, this hesitation is biased towards helping Sister Jinlian to avenge. Xiao Yao is not a saintly bitch. If a woman comes to ask for help, he will help her. After rebirth, Xiao Yao always puts life first. However, if the mobile phone system can issue tasks, it means that the danger level of this task should still be within an acceptable range. At least, as long as it is a task, it is possible to complete it. Okay. I will definitely help you to avenge, don't worry, Xiao Yao thought for a while and agreed to Jinlian. It's just a zombie. This is only the early stage of the doomsday. How strong can it be? If you can't even eliminate a zombie in the early stage of the doomsday, how can you survive in this doomsday that you don't know when it will end? Exclamation mark. Moreover, this was the second mission after rebirth. The reconnaissance glasses given in the first mission were essential equipment for Xiao Yao, but what would a second mission give? The system was actually playing mysteriously, not telling him what it was, but only telling him that it was a mysterious gift package. If the system was a woman, Xiao Yao would definitely whip her severely, but unfortunately, the system was just a program, and it couldn't even communicate. Gurgle. His stomach was urging him to eat again. Xiao Yao touched his stomach and Jinlian in front of him laughed awkwardly. Sorry, it's my stomach. Xiao Yao touched the back of his head and laughed awkwardly. It's okay, I'm hungry too. Let's make something to eat first. We'll discuss the revenge together after we're full. I'll go see if there's anything to eat. Jinlian turned around, wiped the tears from her face with her hands, and looked for something to eat in her mother's small bungalow. When she heard that Xiao Yao was helping her get revenge, Jinlian felt relieved, and her eagerness to avenge her mother eased down. She has been working hard all these years, and her mother is her only support. Although her mother can't provide much help, as long as her mother is there, even if her mother stays quietly in the house to cook, or watch the chicken farm, she is her support. As long as her mother is there, she will have endless power. It is a kind of belief, a spiritual belief, and the source of all power. When they were looking for food together, the lights suddenly turned off. If there was a moon, it wouldn't be very dark at night. However, there was thick fog outside, and the moonlight had long been blocked outside the sky. Without the lights, it was pitch dark at night, not to mention being inside the house. Although Xiao Yao was wearing reconnaissance glasses, it was still dark in front of him. He could only see various icons on the field of vision. Did these broken reconnaissance glasses even have a night vision function? Xiao Yao. Sister Jinlian, I'm here. Xiao Yao walked forward following the voice. It seems that the power is out. Where are you? I'm here, Sister Jinlian, please follow the voice. Xiao Yao walked forward and asked Sister Jinlian to follow the voice. Bang! Someone fell down, followed by a woman's soft cry, "Ah! What's wrong, Sister Jinlian?" Xiao Yao was about to ask Jinlian what happened when he found someone rushing over him. Sister Jinlian, I seem to have kicked something and tripped. Fortunately, you are in front of me, Xiao Yao. Are you okay, Sister Jinlian? Xiao Yao looked at the darkness in front of him and could only be sure that Sister Jinlian was in his arms. It's okay, Sister Jinlian stood up. Although Xiao Yao was a younger brother, this kind of close contact was the first time for Jinlian. Thinking back to the feeling of contacting Xiao Yao just now, is this reliance? Is this a sense of security? If it weren't for the pitch-black darkness, Jinlian would have found that her face turned red like a Fuji apple in front of this younger brother who was a few years younger than her. Xiao Yao took out his cell phone. With a weak light from the cell phone, he could finally see something clearly. Sister Jinlian, it seems like there's a power outage. I'll go check the switch. Is it tripped or something? Xiao Yao clicked on the screen of his cell phone and turned on the flashlight function. Suddenly, the whole room was filled with light. The two of them felt more at ease. People are afraid of the dark, regardless of gender. Sister Jinlian in front of him was still dazed and didn't respond. Sister Jinlian. Xiao Yao asked again when he saw that Sister Jinlian didn't respond, and waved his hand in front of Sister Jinlian's eyes. Oh, what's wrong? Sister Jinlian glanced at Xiao Yao hurriedly at this time. She was a little distracted just now. I'm going to check the circuit breaker to see if there's a short circuit or a power outage. Where is the circuit breaker at my aunt's house? Oh, it's inside. I'll take you there. Jinlian turned to go into the inner room, took a step and came back. Brother Xiao Yao, use your phone to shine for me. I can't see the road clearly. Oh, okay. Xiao Yao and Jinlian walked side by side into the inner room. Xiao Yao lifted the curtain. There was a peculiar smell in the inner room. Xiao Yao thought for a while. This was the smell of old things. Xiao Yao remembered smelling it at his grandmother's house. Generally, elderly people's homes would have this smell. It's in the corner. Sister Jinlian pointed. Xiao Yao used the flashlight on his phone to shine in the direction pointed by Sister Jinlian. It looks like there's a power outage. The circuit breaker is on. What should we do? If it's the end of the world, when will the electricity come back? Sister Jinlian said fearfully. If there is no electricity, there is no light. Without light, there is no sense of security. We can't keep the flashlight on our phones on all night, or the phones will run out of power soon. Just when Xiao Yao and the others had just finished looking at the switch, a shrill scream of a woman was heard, followed by a series of shrill screams. Chaos began at this moment. Xiao Yao and Jinlian looked at each other. There were many screams in a row. Without electricity, this quiet night became even quieter, and the shrill screams spread further. Xiao Yao listened attentively. From the sound, the screams did not come from next door, but they were definitely not far away. They should also be from nearby neighbors. In the thick fog, earth-shattering changes have taken place at this time. Doomsday has officially arrived. The originally quiet night is now replaced by killing and blood. The whole city is filled with sharp screams, shrill cries for help, and painful groans. The living people are shivering and huddled in their homes. Everyone's heart is shrouded in the haze of death. This is destined to be a sleepless night. Chapter 59 Low Battery. Xiao Yao and Jin Lian sat around the table and ate dinner quietly. Dinner was the dry food and pickles that Jin Lian found in the kitchen that her mother had stored. There was also rice and flour, but Jin Lian and her friends didn't dare to light a fire. They were afraid of attracting the attention of zombies, so they could only eat the dry food and pickles that her mother had stored. They would make do with it for one night. On the table was Jin Lian's cell phone, and the screen was emitting a faint light. Although the screen was broken, at this time, Jin Lian's cell phone was using its residual heat for lighting. Xiao Yao and Jin Lian ate the dry food and pickles silently. No one spoke, and each of them had their own thoughts. Xiao Yao put away his cell phone. Xiao Yao had never paid attention to this issue before. This amazing cell phone system, this amazing cell phone that carries this amazing cell phone system, actually needs to be charged? Exclamation mark. Because Xiao Yao saw that the phone only had 20% battery left. If the phone hadn't shown a prompt that the battery level was less than 20%, Xiao Yao would have had to turn on the flashlight all night. So Xiao Yao quickly turned off the flashlight function of the phone. He didn't know how much power the flashlight had consumed just now. Just thinking about it, Xiao Yao felt a pang of pain. Xiao Yao never had the habit of using a power bank, so he didn't carry one with him. Now that there was a power outage, the phone also faced its fatal problem: it couldn't be charged. Originally, Xiao Yao wanted to rely on this thick fog to slowly consume his health points, and then return to the room to slowly restore his health points, so that he could use them to brush up on his skill, bodybuilding technique. However, the problem is serious now. Xiao Yao does not have time, and his phone may be at risk of shutting down. If the phone is turned off, the phone space cannot be used, and experience points cannot be gained or upgraded. Naturally, he cannot upgrade the skill of bodybuilding technique. Xiao Yao has already verified whether the functions can be used after the phone is turned off. All functions cannot be activated, and the function of the reconnaissance glasses will be turned off instantly. Therefore, the phone must not be turned off. Xiao Yao took out his phone again and adjusted the brightness to the darkest. The screen consumes the most power on the entire phone. In this way, 20% of the power should be able to last for quite a while. Tomorrow's top priority is to find a power bank to charge the phone, and the second is to help Jin Lian for revenge. It would be great if the phone could consume money in the phone space, like the reconnaissance glasses. Xiao Yao didn't know how much dry food he had eaten until he saw that the hunger level in the reconnaissance glasses had shown 100 out of 100. Xiao Yao felt that he could eat more, but he might feel a little full. This might be the difference between reality and games. Although the data was full, he could eat more. Since the hunger level was full, there was no need to continue eating. It was better to save food. Xiao Yao put the remaining dry food into the plastic bag on the table, poured a glass of water from the thermos next to the table, and poured a glass for Sister Jinlian. Sister Jinlian, have a glass of water. Thank you. Sister Jinlian took the water cup, blew it slowly, tried the temperature of the water, and slowly drank it from the edge of the water cup. Gudong gudong. Xiao Yao directly picked up the water cup and drank it in big gulps. There was a lot of water in the mobile phone space, but Xiao Yao did not take water from the mobile phone space in front of Sister Jinlian casually. Although this was the end of the world, this secret, the less people know, the less danger there is. Xiao Yao did not trust Jinlian that much. Brother Xiao Yao, you don't want to eat anymore. I'm full. Then I'll clean up. Yes. The two of them had a simple conversation, as if they had been siblings for many years, without being overly polite, because everyone has not completely accepted the coming of this doomsday, and it may take some time to accept and adapt. Sister Jinlian, you go to sleep on the king first. Xiao Yao said to Jinlian with the weak light of the mobile phone. What about you? I can just lie down here and sleep. You go to sleep quickly. I may need to go out to find something tomorrow. Do I have to go out? Yes, I have to go out. This is related to whether I can survive, and whether I can avenge you. Okay. Jinlian was not polite. She was too tired and needed a rest, holding the mobile phone to light up, lifting the curtain, lying on the kang. The quilt still had the smell of her mother. Jinlian grabbed the corner of the quilt tightly with both hands, and tears flowed down uncontrollably again. Bursts of shrill screams came from outside from time to time. Jinlian tightened her hands holding the quilt. Xiao Yao? Xiao Yao. I'm here, Sister Jinlian. Can't you come into the room and keep me company? I'm scared. It's not appropriate. It's already awkward for a man and a woman to be in the same room, and if they sleep on the same kang, how can they reason with each other? The noise outside is too scary. I can't sleep. Although Sister Jinlian is a few years older than himself, she is still a weak woman after all. The incident this evening has dealt a great blow to her nerves. It's good enough that she can keep a relatively clear mind and not collapse. Okay, I'll come in now. Xiao Yao lifted the curtain and entered the inner room. With the light of the mobile phone, he could see that Sister Jinlian was covered with a quilt with only her head exposed. Xiao Yao was sitting on the edge of the king with his back against the wall. Sister Jinlian, don't be afraid, I'm here. Thank you. Jinlian felt much calmer when she saw Xiao Yao sitting on the edge of the kang. Xiao Yao put away his phone, and sat quietly on the kang against the wall, closing his eyes. Xiao Yao had killed chickens all day, and he was a little tired. He also needed a lot of sleep. Although he was hungry, he couldn't get his energy back by eating. At this time, Xiao Yao heard a rustling sound from the side, and a jade hand groped and grabbed his hand. It was Sister Jinlian's hand. Before Xiao Yao could react, Jinlian grabbed his left hand tightly. Xiao Yao felt the temperature of Sister Jinlian's hand, which was icy, and he couldn't help feeling a little distressed. Xiao Yao held Jinlian's hand with both hands and used his own temperature to warm her up. When Jinlian held Xiao Yao's hand, she felt completely at ease. Feeling the warmth of Xiao Yao's hand, the corners of her mouth slightly raised, and there were traces of tears in the corners of her eyes. Not long after, she fell into deep sleep. She was too tired. Xiao Yao didn't know how many years older Jinlian was than him, but Xiao Yao really regarded Jinlian as his sister. Being able to face the end of the world at the same time, Jinlian should be considered to be sharing the same suffering as him. In the silent night, screams were heard from time to time. Xiao Yao was also half asleep and half awake, and was frequently awakened. Later, the screams faded, and Xiao Yao fell into deep sleep. Chapter 60, Faction. At midnight, on the kang in the darkness, Sister Jinlian next to him had already fallen into deep sleep. Xiao Yao sat on the kang, his back against the wall, his head tilted to one side. Suddenly, veins popped out of Xiao Yao's forehead, and beads of sweat the size of beans oozed out of his forehead. In the blink of an eye, it was as if he had taken a sauna. Then an urgent cry came out of Xiao Yao's mouth, "No!" Xiao Yao, who had no idea what nightmare he was having, quickly got up, his breathing became rapid, his eyes widened. Where was this? Xiao Yao quickly glanced around, and saw darkness everywhere. Xiao Yao then remembered that he was on Jinlian's mother's kang. Xiao Yao took out his mobile phone from his pocket. Although the brightness of the mobile phone had been adjusted to the lowest, but in the darkness, a faint light was very bright and he could still see clearly. Xiao Yao checked the battery level of his mobile phone. Now what he was most concerned about was the remaining battery. Seeing that the mobile phone had 18% battery left, Xiao Yao breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the battery level of the mobile phone was not decreasing very quickly. It was almost 1 a.m., and after sleeping for so long, it was still the middle of the night. Outside the window it was dark outside. Xiao Yao shone his phone at Sister Jinlian next to him. Sister Jinlian was lying on her side, facing him, frowning. It didn't seem like a sweet dream. His shouting just now didn't wake her up. It seemed that she was really tired. Xiao Yao got off the kang and went to the next room. The phone showed that his health had been fully restored, 200/200. Xiao Yao turned on the function of the detection glasses. It was better to go into the thick fog now to lose blood and brush up on the proficiency of the bodybuilding technique, and then come back to sleep. It would be fully restored by dawn. Xiao Yao used the weak light of his phone to shine, slowly opened the door, and stood in the thick fog outside the house. The fog got thicker at midnight. Xiao Yao didn't dare to walk too far. Standing in the fog at this time was a bit like bathing in milk. The weak light of the mobile phone was no longer of much use. Xiao Yao was a little worried about the gate at this time. Let's go check the gate first. Xiao Yao groped along the wall to the gate, tried the lock on the gate, and breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't know if this rusty gate could block the zombies' attack. Zombies should not have such a high IQ. As long as he and Jinlian didn't make any sound, there shouldn't be any problem. Health -1. Health -1. Health -1 inches at this time. Xiao Yao noticed that the health value under the avatar was decreasing rapidly. Xiao Yao was suddenly shocked by the speed of blood loss. The blood loss speed was a bit fast. Xiao Yao quickly focused on the poisoning icon. Zombie virus level 7, lose 7 horsepower per minute, 1 more layer for every 1 minute, and transform into the undead race, zombies when HP is less than 1%. How could this be? Why is it level 7 now? It only took 1 minute at most for me to walk from the door to the gate. Losing 1 horsepower per minute has become losing 1 horsepower in less than 10 seconds. However, Xiao Yao calmed down quickly after a brief surprise and was not too panicked. With his HP, he could still hold on for a while. It was just 7 minutes less, so he could still hold on. After trying the gate, Xiao Yao groped his way to the bungalow. When he reached the door of the bungalow, Xiao Yao stood at the door. Time passed by, and Xiao Yao stared at the decrease in HP. HP. 99 out of 200 inches ding. HP is less than 50% of the current HP limit. Please choose a camp. This prompt only appears once. Please choose carefully. A line of large blood red text appeared in Xiao Yao's field of vision, which scared Xiao Yao. The font flashed 3 times, and then 2 boxes appeared. On the left is a human, and there is a picture of a masked human holding a wooden stick, with a line of small words below. The attributes remain unchanged. On the right is a zombie, and there is a picture of a zombie with both hands stretched forward and gritting its teeth, with a line of small words below. The initial attributes are multiplied by 5, and each upgrade increases the free attribute point by 1. Please choose a camp. There is another line of words flashing below. I'm Tefik. Xiao Yao couldn't help cursing. He could actually choose a camp? Xiao Yao didn't know what camp to choose for a while. He accidentally glanced at his health value, 21/200. No, he couldn't stay here. He had to go back to the house first. Xiao Yao quickly turned around and walked into the house. After entering the door, Xiao Yao quickly closed the door. He didn't know whether the thick fog would run into the house the moment Xiao Yao opened the door. When he saw that there was no poisoning icon, Xiao Yao's hanging heart was relieved. If the thick fog could run into the house the moment he opened the door, there would be nowhere to run. He would just sit and wait for death. Xiao Yao thought, maybe there was too little thick fog running in, and it didn't reach the level of poisoning. What Xiao Yao was concerned about now was that he could still choose a camp. In other words, whether he chose humans or zombies, he could continue to live, and no matter how he looked at it, choosing the zombie camp was a win. The initial attributes were multiplied by 5, and each upgrade could get a little more. It was too good. However, Xiao Yao remembered the appearance of the middle-aged man next door during the day, and couldn't help shuddering. If he chose zombies, would he still have intelligence? Would he still have self-awareness? It feels like zombies have no intelligence, only the instincts of predation. What is the difference between them and wild animals? If they become zombies, they can only survive by eating humans. Without self-awareness, what is the difference between them and wild animals? Wild animals are relatively clean, and this zombie's eating appearance is too ugly. No matter how many attributes are given, what is the point of losing the meaning of survival? Xiao Yao is only 19 years old, and there is a bright future waiting for him. Isn't it good to have a decent life? Even if he can't be a savior, it's not a big problem to survive with wretched development. After a short thought, Xiao Yao resolutely chose the human camp. Even if there is no attribute bonus, Xiao Yao doesn't believe that with a mobile phone system, he can't beat these ugly zombies. After losing blood for so long, Xiao Yao glanced at the proficiency of the body forging technique, which was only 260/10000. It's a drop in the bucket, and there is a long way to go. It will take a long time to upgrade. It takes 7 days to restore 10,000 health points simply by relying on the life recovery of the body forging technique. Without blood recovery potions, this time will be greatly extended. The health value recovered a little, reaching 22 out of 200, and Xiao Yao was completely relieved. The poisoning state was gone, and he could only recover slowly. This was already good. After all, ordinary people seem to have no way to restore their health. Xiao Yao fumbled to the Kang with the faint light of his mobile phone. This time, he did not sit on the edge of the Kang, but lay down at the other end of Sister Jinlian. It was almost 2 o'clock, so he might as well lie down and sleep. He had been sleeping while sitting just now, and his neck was almost stiff. Chapter 61 The Cock Crows at Dawn. 2114, at dawn, the thick fog had lasted for a whole night, but it had not yet dispersed. The whole city was in a state of silence. Only the drunkards who were still drunk in the thick fog were swaying back and forth like headless flies, and they kept making low roars from time to time. No one knew how many people in the city had been infected with the zombie virus and became zombies, and no one knew how many people had died under the siege of zombies. No one had counted the number, and there was no way to know how many survivors there were. Gugu's loud cry, at dawn, was like a drop of water in boiling hot oil, waking up the zombies in standby mode, and also waking up Xiao Yao, who was sleeping soundly. He had thought that if they kept quiet, they would be safe for a while, but he didn't expect that he was pitted by his pig teammates. If he had known, he would have killed all the chickens yesterday, but now he didn't have so much time. Jinlian, who was standing next to him, was also awakened by the crowing of the rooster. Her face was also solemn. If it was normal, the crowing of the rooster would be nothing, but this was the end of the world. This was simply the godly assist of the god teammate. No, the crowing of the rooster will attract zombies. Xiao Yao looked solemn. Roosters don't crow only once, they crow for a long time, and roosters crow in groups, like a competition, to see who has the louder voice. What should I do then? Jinlian looked scared. She was at a loss when facing one zombie, Uncle Wang, yesterday. If she attracted other zombies, wouldn't she be wiped out? Where should she hide? Sister Jinlian, wait here, don't come out, I'll go kill all those roosters. Xiao Yao did it right away. He comforted Sister Jinlian and quickly got up and jumped off the kang. He didn't take off his clothes when he went to bed last night, just because he was afraid that he would need to run away at any time on the end of the world. Xiao Yao turned on the detection function and pushed open the door. It was already daybreak. He didn't know if the thick fog would dissipate after the sun came out. He looked at the poisoning icon, zombie virus level 2. Fortunately, the poisoning state was lighter than at midnight. Perhaps, the early morning was when the poison was the strongest, and now the poison was weakening. Xiao Yao followed the direction of the roosters crowing and trotted all the way to the chicken farm in the north. Xiao Yao came to the chicken farm, pushed open the door, and quickly closed it. Oh my god, no one has cleaned or fed the chickens for a long time. The whole chicken coop seemed to be fermented and stinked. Xiao Yao fumbled to turn on the switch and exhaust fan on the wall, but there was no response. He was dumbfounded, then he remembered that the power had been out for a long time. There was no way. Xiao Yao ran back to the south bungalow and searched for a long time. There was a towel on the shelf at the door. Xiao Yao touched the towel, wrapped it around his face, covering his nose and mouth, and found something like a rope to fix the towel. Then he ran to the chicken farm in the north. The visibility was poor, but there was no way. Xiao Yao didn't want to turn on the flashlight function on his mobile phone again. He couldn't afford it. It was too extravagant. He could only fumble and start to catch chickens from the cages. He killed a few, and the chickens in the whole chicken coop were screaming and flapping their wings. Under normal circumstances, Xiao Yao didn't think it was noisy, but the situation did not allow it now, especially at such a quiet dawn. It was simply fatal. Roar. Bang. 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 A low roar mixed with a sound of knocking on the door. Xiao Yao's heart sank when he heard the sudden knocking on the door. The thing he was afraid of had finally happened. From the sound, there were at least 2 zombies knocking on the door. The rusty iron door probably couldn't hold out for long. Xiao Yao gave up on killing chickens and ran to the bungalow. Xiao Yao, what should I do? I heard someone knocking on the door. Jinlian was also panicked, and hadn't changed her words to say that it was zombies knocking on the door. No, there are too many chickens, and the visibility is poor now. It will take several hours to kill them. It's too late. Then what should we do? Let's run. The thick fog outside is poisonous. We can only stay in the fog for more than 10 minutes at most. Then what should we do? Are we just going to wait to die? Let's go next door. But how do we get over there? There are zombies at the door. Climb over the wall. Can you climb over? You stay in the room first, I'll go see what's going on the top of the wall. Xiao Yao looked at the table, turned around and instructed Jinlian, by the way, find a towel to wrap around your mouth first, maybe that will help. Xiao Yao moved the table, I'll go out in a while, you close the door quickly. Yes. Jinlian had already found a towel to wrap around her mouth and nodded desperately. The sound of knocking on the door outside was getting louder and louder. There were more than 2 zombies knocking on the door. Jinlian was so afraid that the zombies would break in the next second. Xiao Yao carried the table out of the door. Jinlian quickly closed the door and leaned on the glass to look outside. The yard was not big, and Jinlian could vaguely see Xiao Yao's figure. Xiao Yao carried the table to the wall, put it down, and then climbed onto it. The walls of rural courtyards were not very high, and Xiao Yao could just look over the top of the wall to the opposite side. Suddenly, a roar came from below, and Xiao Yao was startled. He saw that the middle-aged zombie from yesterday was actually standing by the wall, looking up at Xiao Yao, and pretending to grab Xiao Yao with both hands. However, it was just a little bit short. If the zombie could jump, it could grab Xiao Yao's head with one jump. Unfortunately, it seemed that the zombie did not have this kind of wisdom. Oh my god. Xiao Yao was startled when he saw the zombie below. The blue circle of the detection glasses also followed Xiao Yao's gaze and focused on the head of the zombie below. Zombie race, undead level. 2 combat power. 54 life. 512/512 inches. Xiao Yao was shocked. This was only a level 2 zombie, and its combat power and life were far superior to his own. It was simply the son of the end of the century. However, when he found that this zombie just couldn't reach him, Xiao Yao felt that his chance had come. Wouldn't this be equivalent to blocking the position? But the kitchen knife was too short, and it was a bit difficult to attack the zombie's head. Xiao Yao immediately ran back to the bungalow and glanced around. Got it, Xiao Yao picked up the big pot cover on the pot. This pot cover could be used as a shield, but the direction seemed to be reversed. Who cares? The zombie didn't know how to grab the pot cover. Xiao Yao ran to the wall again, using the pot cover to block the zombie's outstretched hand, gritted his teeth and chopped the zombie's arm with a kitchen knife. The moment the kitchen knife chopped the zombie's arm, Xiao Yao felt sick and had goosebumps all over his body. This is a zombie. This is a zombie. Not a human. Xiao Yao tried his best to hypnotize himself. The one opposite him was not human. Seeing that both arms of the zombie were drooping and he could not lift them up, it was still biting Xiao Yao with its face. Xiao Yao blocked half of his vision with a pot cover and aimed at the zombie's head with his other hand. He closed his eyes, held the kitchen knife tightly, and chopped it hard several times. He did not care how much damage he caused to the zombie, and just chopped it hard. The last time he used too much force, it got stuck on the zombie's head. Xiao Yao pulled it out several times but failed. Finally, he had no choice but to let go. The zombie below had already stopped roaring. After Xiao Yao let go, the zombie collapsed softly like a pile of mud. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62 First Kill. Xiao Yao lay on the wall, watching the zombie collapse on the ground, no longer moving. Huh? Xiao Yao took a long breath. There was no information about this zombie in the detection glasses. It seemed that it was really dead. Fortunately, this zombie was dead, otherwise Xiao Yao would not know what weapon to use to kill him. This zombie had 512 health points. Xiao Yao's right hand was a little sore from chopping. If every zombie in the Doomsday had this amount of health, what would he do? Xiao Yao suddenly felt confused. This was still a zombie, and he was stuck. Not to mention more, if there were 3, Xiao Yao would have to be reborn. Without weapons, it would be a problem to survive, not to mention being a savior. Quite a while had passed. Xiao Yao glanced at his health points, which were 172 out of 200. Fortunately, his health had not dropped much. He could not waste time. Seeing that the zombie had no movement, Xiao Yao quickly climbed down the table and returned to the bungalow. Sister Jinlian, I have killed the zombie for you yesterday. Xiao Yao ran back to tell Jinlian the good news, because, secondly, Xiao Yao was also more concerned about what was in the mysterious gift package. Really? Jinlian was surprised that Xiao Yao actually helped her get revenge. Thank you. Jinlian threw herself into Xiao Yao's arms, tears flowing again. Jinlian was afraid that she had cried all her tears in the past few days. Really, I have avenged you. Thank you, Xiao Yao. Jinlian hugged Xiao Yao tightly. The prompt for the completion of the task has appeared, but Xiao Yao has not received the task reward at this time. Now is not the time. Xiao Yao stretched out his hand, put it in the air awkwardly, and finally gently stroked Sister Jinlian's back. Sister Jinlian, now is not the time to be sentimental. We have to hurry and run. There are still many zombies outside. Oh, yes, yes. Jinlian stood up, wiping the tears from the corners of her eyes in panic. What should we do next? You wrap the towel around you. I'll go to the king to get a quilt. Xiao Yao said and ran to the inner room and picked up a quilt. Come on, follow me. Jinlian followed Xiao Yao outside. Xiao Yao climbed onto the table, unfolded the quilt he was holding, and threw it to the corner of the wall next door, just covering the zombies he had just killed. On the one hand, he was afraid that Jinlian would not be able to bear to see such a bloody corpse again, and on the other hand, he could still tiptoe. Sister Jinlian, you come up quickly too. Oh, okay. Jinlian responded and climbed onto the table. I'll go first, then you climb up the wall, and I'll catch you from below. Xiao Yao said, then he climbed over the wall and jumped down. Although he was cushioned by a quilt, he stepped on part of the zombie's body the moment his feet touched the quilt. Xiao Yao still felt sick and almost sprained his ankle. Xiao Yao tried to find a suitable position, stood still, and said to Jinlian, Sister Jinlian, jump down quickly, I'll catch you. I don't dare. Sister Jinlian hesitated for a while, but still slowly moved her body and stepped over the wall, but she didn't dare to jump down. Hurry up, the thick fog is poisonous, we don't have much time to waste. Xiao Yao was anxious, he couldn't wait any longer. His eyes swept over Jinlian, and Jinlian's information appeared in his eyes. Name, Jinlian race, human level. 1 combat power. 10 life. 41/100 inches. Xiao Yao noticed that Sister Jinlian's health seemed to have increased a lot, but he didn't have time to pay too much attention to these things at this time. Hurry up, Sister Jinlian. Xiao Yao really wanted to slap her. Women are really troublesome. Bang! At this moment, the rusty door could not withstand the beating of several zombies, and finally fell down, splashing a pile of dust. Ah! Looking back and seeing the zombies pouring in, Jinlian was frightened and didn't hold on steadily, and fell backwards. Xiao Yao took the fallen Jinlian, and didn't care about the taboos between men and women. He quickly hugged Sister Jinlian and ran to the north room. If he stayed for a few more minutes, he would be transformed into a zombie without the zombies attacking. The bungalow was close at hand, but the glass of the bungalow had been smashed by the zombie he had just killed. The thick fog inside was almost the same as outside, so Xiao Yao could only run to the north room. Fortunately, the north room was not locked. Xiao Yao pushed open the door, quickly closed it with his back, put Jinlian down, pulled off the towel on his face, and breathed hard in the air in the room. Although there was a musty smell in the room, it was better than the poisonous fog outside. The intense exercise plus the towel's barrier almost suffocated Xiao Yao. Sister Jinlian also pulled off the towel, supported her knees with both hands, and breathed heavily. The shock just now and the towel covering her mouth made her breath difficult, which also suffocated her. Just now, Sister Jinlian almost thought she was going to be buried in the mouth of the zombies. Her chest was also violently ups and downs. Now she was finally out of danger. Sister Jinlian breathed the only clean air in the room to her heart's content. At home on the other side of the wall, the zombies broke through the door and didn't pay much attention to Jinlian on the wall. They were attracted by the sound of the chicken farm in the north and rushed to the chicken farm in the north. Then there was a scream of chickens and dogs. It sounded even more miserable than when Xiao Yao killed the chickens before. The sky outside gradually brightened, but the thick fog did not dissipate. Xiao Yao finished his rest and checked the space on his phone. There was no space. To receive the task reward, he must ensure that there is free space on his phone. Xiao Yao had to take out the soul locking bead from the space on his phone and put it in his trouser pocket. Sister Jinlian, you sit here and take a rest first. I'll go see if there is anything useful in the room. Xiao Yao, who wanted to receive the reward directly, chose to avoid it. Okay, Jinlian found a chair and sat down. Uncle Wang's house didn't even have a sofa, but it was good to have a chair to sit on. Xiao Yao didn't know whether others would notice anything unusual when he received the reward, so he decided to choose a safer method. The room was quite large, and there was a small warehouse on the west side. Xiao Yao pushed open the door of the small warehouse. Although it was a little dark, he had no choice. There was a crack in the door so that the small warehouse would not be too dark. Then Xiao Yao received the task reward. A faint light flashed before his eyes, and 100 experience points were also received. Xiao Yao was more concerned about what the mysterious gift package was. Open the gift package. A purple light flashed before his eyes, and an item appeared in the only remaining space in the phone space. Intelligence robot pet, pickup, Xiao Qiang, durability 100 out of 100, cannot attack, can automatically pick up money and items dropped within a 3-meter range. Can be used. If there was no line of words below, Xiao Yao would have thought that this mysterious gift package was empty. After looking carefully for a long time, he found a very small robot pet in the square of the phone space. What is this? Xiao Qiang? Or a robot version? Chapter 63 Blood Essence. Xiao Yao looked at the intelligent robot pet in his palm, Xiao Qiang. He saw Xiao Qiang in his palm that was not much bigger than a fly. It was wearing matte black armor, with 2 long antennas on its head, and its 2 eyes were like the butts of fireflies, flashing and shining. Can this thing pick up things? Xiao Yao was skeptical. Even if it could pick up things, how big a thing the size of a bug could move? Xiao Yao slowly put Xiao Qiang on the ground, fearing that he would accidentally crush it. Then he took out a bottle of water from his mobile phone and threw it on the ground, paying attention to Xiao Qiang's movements. Xiao Yao found that Xiao Qiang did not pick up the things. Does it have to be the things that fell from the monsters to count? What he threw himself does not count. Will the zombie he just killed drop any good things? What if the good things that fell out refreshed after a long time? No, I have to hurry up and take a look. I glanced at the health value of 162 out of 200, and the health value recovery is still okay. Go outside to take a look. Sister Jinlian, you take a rest here and check if there is anything useful. We will pack up and move right away. Move again. There are so many zombies next door. Are you sure you can sleep well at night? Besides, there is another zombie in the yard, and there is my aunts. Before Xiao Yao finished speaking, Jinlian's eyes had dimmed. For safety reasons, I will go and see if the zombie I killed is dead. Sister Jinlian, check if there is any food and tools. Don't take anything you don't need. Jinlian nodded, without saying anything more, and turned around quietly to see if there was anything edible and useful. Xiao Yao looked at Jinlian's back and really wanted to slap himself in the face. He was talking about something else. Sister Jinlian had already forgotten about the incident with my aunt, but now he brought it up again. Xiao Yao turned around and went to see if the dead zombie could reveal some good things. Xiao Yao bent his body and walked slowly towards the zombie corpse. He couldn't make too much noise. There were countless zombies next door. The sound of chickens and dogs jumping around never stopped. It would take Xiao Yao a long time to kill more than 2,400 chickens, not to mention these brainless zombies. He covered his mouth with a towel. Xiao Yao found that it was really useful to cover his mouth with a towel. The poisoning state changed from losing 1 blood every 1 minute to losing 1 blood every 2 minutes. It seemed that at least one thing could be confirmed. The poisoning state would enter the body through breathing. As for whether it would pass through the skin, Xiao Yao couldn't verify it for the time being. He couldn't find a plastic bag to cover himself. Besides, there was no such big plastic bag. Xiao Qiang was originally small in size. Xiao Yao didn't know where Xiao Qiang had gone. Fortunately, after using Xiao Qiang, a puppy icon appeared in the pile of icons at the bottom of the field of vision. Xiao Yao found Xiao Qiang's information in this puppy icon. Intelligent robot pet, pickup, Xiao Qiang, durability 100 out of 100, cannot attack, can automatically pick up money and items dropped within a 3-meter range. In use recallable. The status shows that it is in use, and the durability is full. Xiao Yao doesn't know what this durability is for, but at least it proves that Xiao Qiang is working, but he doesn't know where. As he got closer to the quilt covering the zombie corpse, Xiao Yao found a few lines of text in the lower right corner of his vision. Pick up money. 100 pick up inferior blood essence 1. Inferior blood essence? What is this? Xiao Yao opened the space on his mobile phone, and a dark red crystal like rock candy was lying in the space on his mobile phone. Inferior blood essence. The crystals condensed in the body by zombies sucking blood and flesh contain energy and are the energy source that drives the zombies to move. Eating it increases the upper limit of life by +10. It contains violent energy and will cause damage to the nervous system. The side effects are large, so please use it with caution. Blood essence. Xiao Yao looked at the information of the blood essence and found that something really exploded. It was such a strange thing. The upper limit of life plus 10, such a good thing. If it is used unlimitedly, wouldn't my life have no upper limit? Or is there a limit on the number of times this thing can be used? Xiao Yao saw the information behind that it would cause damage to the nervous system, and was in a dilemma for a while. The upper limit of life of 10 points was not worth a risk. After all, the upper limit of life of 10 points, and the upper limit of life increased by 11 points when I leveled up one level. Xiao Yao took out the blood essence and waited quietly for a while. He found that there were no more items to pick up. It seemed that the corpse of this zombie only gave 100 yuan and one blood essence. Don't be too poor. After all, it was his first kill, so it must have exploded. In fact, it didn't. Xiao Yao put the blood essence into his pocket and put the soul-locking orb into his phone again. There was no other way. The soul-locking orb would absorb the vitality of the living creatures around it. If there was no thick fog, the soul-locking orb would be a perfect match with the body forging technique. However, Xiao Yao couldn't take out the soul-locking orb now. Just dealing with the thick fog was already overwhelming. Xiao Yao couldn't bear this double negative buff blessing. It would kill him. Besides, he was not alone. The golden lotus couldn't restore his life. Xiao Yao bent his waist and walked towards the north room. Hey, Xiao Yao found a hatchet next to a pile of firewood and picked it up. Axe, attack 5-7, combat power plus 7. The kitchen knife was stuck on the zombie's head and could not be removed for the time being. It was not that Xiao Yao did not want to take it, but he was afraid to look at the zombie's body. The handle of this axe was very long, which was just right for the next battle. It was a little longer than the kitchen knife. An inch longer is an inch better. Xiao Yao came to the north room with the axe. His health was 112 out of 200. He glanced at Sister Jinlian. Her health was 37/100. Sister Jinlian's health had not recovered. Could it be that Sister Jinlian recovered her health while sleeping last night? Xiao Yao did not know how much she had recovered, but it was not fully recovered anyway. Seeing Jinlian's health, Xiao Yao was in a dilemma. With Sister Jinlian's health, he did not know how far she could run. Even if she had a towel around her mouth and her poisoning status was halved, Sister Jinlian could only last for 15 minutes at most. In 15 minutes, Xiao Yao was not sure if he could find a suitable place. Sister Jinlian, how is it? Is there anything useful? I've already looked. There's no food. It's probably all in the south bungalow. There's only an electric fan, a broken TV, and a suitcase with a bunch of clothes in it. There's also a backpack, but it's empty. There are also 2 boxes of liquor. There's basically nothing else that can be used. Liquor. Well, it's unopened, but already covered with a thick layer of dust. It looks like it's been stored for a long time. Xiao Yao looked at the 2 boxes of liquor next to him and fell into deep thought. Maybe he didn't need to run for the time being. Chapter 64 Barbecue. When Xiao Yao heard Jinlian say that there were 2 boxes of wine, an idea popped into his mind. 53 degrees. Xiao Yao opened a box of liquor and looked at the alcohol content. It was 53 degrees high-proof liquor, 2 whole boxes. With such a high alcohol content, it could be burned. Xiao Yao took another look at the clothes that had been turned out by Jinlian. Clothes and alcohol could be used to make Molotov cocktails, which could be used to burn the zombies next door to death. However, this was Jinlian's home after all, so Xiao Yao couldn't burn it directly. He decided to ask Jinlian's opinion. If he didn't agree, this method would have to be abandoned. Sister Jinlian, I have an idea to kill the zombies next door. What method? We can sprinkle white wine on these clothes, then light them, throw them on the zombies and burn them to death. Will it work? If it is done properly, there should be no problem. Then let's burn them to death. But, in this case, I'm not sure if the burning zombies running around will burn down your house as well. Jinlian didn't speak, but lowered her head and thought for a while. It's okay, burn it, as long as we can kill these zombies. It doesn't matter if the house burns down. We don't know how long we can live. What's the use of the house if we die? Really no problem. Xiao Yao, just do it. Anyway, I have a building in the north of the city. This old house is not lived in. At worst, I can renovate this old house after this disaster is over. Okay, Sister Jinlian, when the disaster is over, I will pay for the renovation of the house. This is what you said, you are not allowed to deny it. A gentleman's word is as good as his words. Okay, then I'll wait for you to build a house for me. Xiao Yao didn't hesitate. If the disaster was over, it shouldn't be difficult to make money with the help of the mobile phone system. It shouldn't be a problem to help Sister Jinlian renovate the house. Xiao Yao simply took out all the clothes, opened a few bottles of white wine, poured them on the clothes, and soaked the entire pile of clothes with white wine. Sister Jinlian, please stay in the house for a while. I can go by myself. How can that be? You have already breathed a lot of thick fog. Are you okay? What if you become a zombie too? I can still hold on for dozens of minutes, but Sister Jinlian, you can't breathe the thick fog anymore. Believe me. Okay, then I'll wait for you here. Jinlian nodded solemnly. She had a lot of things to ask Xiao Yao, but she didn't ask how Xiao Yao knew that staying in the thick fog for more than 10 minutes would turn him into a zombie. From yesterday to now, he had only seen Uncle Wang, a zombie. However, Jinlian didn't speak several times when she was about to ask. Everyone has secrets. Since Xiao Yao knew the time to turn into a zombie, he must have a way to avoid it. Maybe, for the time being, following Xiao Yao would give him a better chance of survival than being alone. Xiao Yao came to the bungalow in the south. He didn't pay too much attention to the corpse on the ground. He moved the table out of the house and moved it to the base of the east wall. The screams from the other side of the wall continued. Cluck. Cluck. Suddenly a big rooster flew up from the top of the wall, scaring Xiao Yao. He looked closely and saw that it was the big rooster next door. It seemed that the cages in the chicken farm were torn apart by zombies, and some chickens had already escaped from the zombies' siege. Xiao Yao ignored the big rooster. Cluck. Cluck. Many more roosters and hens flew to the top of the wall. Xiao Yao climbed onto the table and could vaguely see that the yard was full of chickens running out, and there were a few zombies chasing after the chickens. However, their mobility was very poor and they could not touch the chickens at all. It was difficult for a normal person to catch a chicken, let alone these zombies with low IQ. More and more chickens escaped from the zombies' clutches. Come here, ugly zombies! Xiao Yao shouted. Some zombies who were catching chickens heard the sound and turned their heads to follow the sound. Although they were separated by fog, the zombies' sense of smell was more sensitive. They followed the sound made by Xiao Yao to the west wall. When they got closer, they found the breath of a living person. They excitedly rushed over to eat Xiao Yao, but they couldn't jump or climb on the table. They looked at the human in front of them but couldn't catch him. They could only roar woodenly. Zombie race, undead level. 1 combat power. 45 health. 500 inches zombie race, undead level. 1 combat power. 40 health. 500 inches 1, 2, 3, 4. Xiao Yao pointed at the number of zombies under the wall. Only 4? Moreover, these zombies were only level 1 zombies, and there were not even any level 2 zombies. How did the level 2 zombies get promoted? Xiao Yao couldn't help but be curious, but he didn't have time to be curious now. He had to barbecue all these zombies first, otherwise they would only increase in number. They were all right under the wall, so this would minimize the damage to the rent, which was not bad. Xiao Yao jumped off the table, ran to the north room and moved the remaining box of white wine over, opened a few bottles, and poured them on the heads of several zombies under the wall next door. He poured 3 or 4 bottles in a row, and then threw the clothes that were just soaked in white wine on the heads of several zombies, set the clothes on his hands on fire, and threw them to the group of zombies below. The zombies that had been soaked in white wine for a long time instantly burned up. 5. A large area of life loss appeared above the zombies' heads in Xiao Yao's field of vision. It seemed that the damage caused by burning was only 5 points. In this way, it would take at least 2 minutes to burn these zombies to death. Xiao Yao was afraid that these liquors would not last for 2 minutes, so he opened a few more bottles of liquor and poured them on the zombies, hoping to burn them to death. There was an axe at Xiao Yao's feet, but he didn't want to fight the zombies in close combat. If he could burn the zombies to death, he would burn them to death. Xiao Yao threw the empty bottle of wine towards the north room of the chicken farm next door. If there were zombies in the north room, he could lure them out. Bang! Bang! He threw 2 bottles of wine in a row. Roar! Sure enough, a zombie roared, and then Xiao Yao vaguely saw a shadow coming out of the door of the north room, standing on the broken pieces of the wine bottle, and didn't know if it hurt his foot. Xiao Yao threw 2 more bottles in the direction of the zombies. At this time, the zombies seemed to have discovered Xiao Yao, stretched out their hands, and walked towards them with a roar. Yes, They were walking. Judging from the zombie's staggering posture, this zombie's ability to move was already walking. Oh my god, is this a human or a zombie? Xiao Yao was also surprised when he saw the zombies moving like normal people. When he got closer, Xiao Yao found the information of the zombies in his field of vision. Zombie race, undead. Level 3. Combat power 62. Health 530. Level 3 zombie. It seemed that there was no difference except that the combat power was slightly higher and the blood was slightly higher. Xiao Yao felt that zombies were not difficult to kill. They had high combat power but no brains and did not know how to make good use of it. No matter how high the combat power was, it was just to give him experience. Xiao Yao looked at the level 3 zombie that ran over and he was still so brainless. You see, this level 3 zombie couldn't even climb up the table. Like the other level 1 zombies, it could only bare its teeth at him. Xiao Yao poured a few bottles of white wine on the zombie's head, and the flames next to it instantly connected to the level 3 zombie. Chapter 65 Power Bank. In the next yard, the raging fire on the zombies was still burning fiercely. Fortunately, these zombies were far away from the house in the north and did not set the house on fire, but it saved Xiao Yao the cost of renovating the house. Xiao Yao looked at the level 3 zombie below. Like the other level 1 zombies, its head was also losing blood 5. Xiao Yao was relieved. As long as it could still lose blood, it seemed that the zombies were still easy to kill. Xiao Yao completely overlooked a problem, that is, the survivors did not know that the thick fog was poisonous. Only a small number of them had the habit of wearing masks when it was foggy. More people did not have the habit of wearing masks, nor did they notice the problem that the thick fog was poisonous. This led to a large number of survivors not being able to take good protection and wasting their lives in vain before turning into zombies. Experience plus 50, pick up money plus 80, experience plus 50, pick up money plus 80, experience plus 50, pick up money plus 80. The first few level 1 zombies have begun to fall, which adds some experience. The pet Xiao, who is somewhere unknown, also helped Xiao Yao pick up some money. Xiao Yao saw the information about the extra money in his field of vision and quickly cleared a space on his phone. He didn't want to go down and search for the zombies' bodies, so he let Xiao go. Not long after, the level 3 zombie also fell. Experience plus 53, pick up money plus 120, pick up inferior blood essence plus 1. The level 3 zombie gave slightly more experience and money, and also gave a piece of inferior blood essence. Xiao Yao took out the inferior blood essence, and after a while, there was no prompt to pick up items. Are you kidding me? 5 zombies, and only 1 piece of inferior blood essence? This explosion rate is too low. After burning 5 zombies to death, I only got 1 piece of inferior blood essence. Does it mean that only zombies above level 2 can get blood essence? Killing these level 1 zombies only gives money? The little money given is not enough to open the reconnaissance skill, not to mention that Xiao Yao also used 2 boxes of white wine. Looking at the few bottles of white wine left, Xiao Yao felt a pain in his heart. It was a bit of a waste. It seems that there is no need to use so much white wine. Forget it, at least a lot of experience was given. Glancing at the health value of 61 out of 200, there is only so much health left. I have to go to the house to recover. Xiao Yao jumped off the table, picked up the axe beside him and ran to the north room. Pulling off the towel, Xiao Yao took a deep breath of the moldy air in the house. At this time, the moldy air was even more fragrant than the thick fog outside. Xiao Yao, what's wrong? Sister Jinlian said anxiously. She was waiting in the house and was more anxious than Xiao Yao going to face the zombies directly. All the zombies have been burned to death. Xiao Yao took a few breaths and replied. That's great. Sister Jinlian clapped her hands excitedly. They wouldn't have to run away after they killed the zombies. The zombies should have been burned to death. However, the doors and windows of the chicken farm next door are broken. The zombies have killed a lot of chickens. Plus the chickens I killed yesterday, the blood smell is very strong, and it may attract zombies. Xiao Yao didn't know if the smell of blood would attract zombies, but according to the description in the movie, zombies should be more sensitive to it, so Xiao Yao had to worry about this problem. So, we still have to run. Sister Jinlian frowned. There are also zombie corpses in this yard. Although they are covered by the bigger smell of blood next door, and I covered them with a quilt, it is only a matter of time before we are discovered. This time I can still use the middle wall to block my position. Next time, if the zombies break through the gate of this yard, then we will really have no place to hide. Besides, Xiao Yao has something more important to do, that is, the battery of the mobile phone is only 12%. Xiao Yao doesn't know if this amount of power can last for a day, so she must find a way to charge the mobile phone today. By the way, do you have a power bank? Xiao Yao has always forgotten one thing. She didn't ask Sister Jinlian if she had a power bank. Since she has a mobile phone, is it possible that she brought a power bank? Thinking of this, Xiao Yao was looking forward to it. Power bank. Jinlian was puzzled. What time is it, and I still need a power bank? Yes, a power bank, to charge the mobile phone. I have a power bank, but I left in a hurry yesterday and didn't bring it with me. It's in the bag on my mother's kang. Great. Xiao Yao was excited. With a power bank, she can charge her mobile phone. However, I have charged it several times, and the power bank may not have much power left. It's okay. It's better to have something than nothing. Xiao Yao was excited. Sister Jinlian, wait for me here. I'll go to the next door to get the power bank. By the way, don't go out. You are not in a good condition to go out. Xiao Yao specifically reminded Sister Jinlian. After all, Sister Jinlian only had 37 HP, which was still quite dangerous. His own HP had recovered a little 65 out of 200. Besides, it would only take a few minutes to go to the next door. Xiao Yao couldn't wait to get the power bank immediately. Okay, then you pay attention to safety. After Jinlian finished speaking, she looked at Xiao Yao's back as he hurriedly opened the door and left. She couldn't have too many opinions of her own now, because she had placed her hopes on Xiao Yao. If she had too many opinions of her own, what if Xiao Yao left her and ran away? Jinlian had no idea what to do next. No. Jinlian suddenly clenched her fists. She couldn't rely on Xiao Yao for everything. What if he felt that he was useless and had to abandon her in the end? At least she had to prove that she was useful. In the yard, in the thick fog, Xiao Yao climbed onto the table and glanced at the zombies opposite. The flame was still burning, and it looked like it would burn for a while. Xiao Yao jumped off the table and moved it to the side for a distance, estimating that it was far away from the pile of zombies over there. He came up again and took a look. The ground below was relatively clean next to the pile of zombies, but there was no table underneath. Xiao Yao jumped down, holding the axe tightly with both hands. He glanced around. There were only a few quiet chickens not far away, walking back and forth in groups of 3 or 5, digging in the soil to find food. They were not afraid of the zombies next to them. There was no shadow of zombies in sight. Xiao Yao exhaled, bent his body and came to the south bungalow, pushed open the door, and came to the kang. There was indeed a black lady's backpack on the kang. Xiao Yao unzipped it and saw a pile of makeup tools. Xiao Yao flipped it and found a white rectangular power bank. Xiao Yao pressed the switch and the LED light showed that there was still 1 grid of power. Great, at least I can charge my phone a little. Xiao Yao carried the lady's backpack and didn't search for anything else. The door was broken long ago, and zombies could come in at any time. I must stay away as soon as possible. Xiao Yao turned around and was about to walk outside. Pa. Xiao Yao, who was walking in a hurry, knocked off a plastic bag on the windowsill. Xiao Yao glanced at the plastic bag reflexively. Red ginseng, package, can be used to make soup, the effect is unknown. Chapter 66 Fatty teaches how to be a good person. Red ginseng, package, can be used to make soup medicine, the effect is unknown. Xiao Yao looked at the plastic bag that fell from the windowsill. What is this? Exclamation mark. The red ginseng bag bought from the old lady who set up a stall at the north gate of Xiao Yao market? Can it be used to make soup medicine? It looks like a Chinese medicine, but I don't know what effect it has. Take it away, take it away. Xiao Yao stuffed the plastic bag into Sister Jinlian's backpack. Charging the mobile phone first is the top priority. Xiao Yao adjusted the towel on his mouth and pushed open the door. What should I do? Without a table, Xiao Yao couldn't jump up such a high courtyard wall. Glancing at the pile of zombies next to him, only a few black tree root-like things were left after burning. Xiao Yao couldn't help but shudder. After all, the way these zombies were burned, they didn't look like zombies. In the middle of the zombie corpses was the table that was originally placed. It looked like it had been burned to ashes and couldn't be stepped on to climb the wall. Roar. A low roar came from outside the door. "It's a zombie." Xiao Yao's hair stood up when he heard this voice. What should he do? Xiao Yao quickly looked around. There was nothing to block in the bare yard. Xiao Yao had no choice but to run back to the bungalow again and close the doors and windows. At this moment, a zombie staggered into the yard from the gate. Seeing the chicken in the yard, he excitedly stretched out his hands to catch the chicken. Huh? Xiao Yao took a deep breath. It seemed that the zombie didn't find him, but he couldn't hide here forever. The bloody smell in the yard would attract more zombies. Now there was only one. If there were a few more, it would be hard to guarantee that the zombies wouldn't find him. There was no liquor here, so he couldn't throw any more incendiary bombs. After a brief thought, Xiao Yao hardened his heart, opened the window, and threw a bottle of mineral water at the zombie that was catching the chicken. The moment the mineral water hit the zombie tilted its head and found Xiao Yao, a more delicious human, and excitedly came to the bungalow with its teeth and claws bared. Come on, ugly zombie, let your fat uncle teach you how to be a man. Xiao Yao held the axe tightly in both hands and stood in the window of the bungalow like an iron tower, with a fierce look in his eyes. The wall of the window was not very high, and Xiao Yao wanted to make a quick decision. The moment the zombie jumped from the window, Xiao Yao raised the axe in his hand and chopped it hard at the zombie's head. Puff! The axe sank halfway into the zombie's head, and a big -34 appeared on the zombie's head, followed by a continuous 5, 5, 5. It seemed that Xiao Yao's axe had caused bleeding damage to the zombie. Xiao Yao's own attributes alone could not cause such high damage, but the real world cannot be viewed entirely according to attributes. A fatal attack on a weakness can cause several times the damage. The axe was stuck on the zombie's head, and Xiao Yao did not pull it out immediately. Roar! Although it caused a fatal attack to the zombie, it did not affect the dancing of the zombie's hands. Xiao Yao chopped the axe on the zombie's head, but it aroused the zombie's anger. Yes, Xiao Yao actually saw anger in the zombie's eyes. The zombie's blood bar only lost a small piece, and the impact on the zombie was not very big. Seeing that the zombie's hands were about to catch him, Xiao Yao instantly loosened his hands holding the axe and quickly stepped back a few steps. He must not let the zombie catch him. If he was caught, who knows if he would be infected and die on the spot. It seems that the handle of this axe is still too short. He must get a longer weapon in the future. 5, 5, 5. The bleeding on the zombie's head continued. Although a lot of blood had been lost, there was still a long blood bar on the zombie's head. It was estimated that there were more than 400 blood. But Xiao Yao was unarmed now. The zombies might crawl into the house at any time, and there might be more zombies outside the yard at any time. More importantly, the windows were wide open. Now, the thick fog outside had begun to spread into the house. Xiao Yao's body was already in several layers of poisoning. For a moment, sweat dripped from his forehead due to nervousness. He quickly scanned the bungalow, but there was no weapon that was handy. The kitchen knife was still stuck on the head of the zombie he had killed earlier, and the pot lid was gone. Xiao Yao picked up the stool on the ground and smashed it hard on the zombie's head, -10, causing 10 points of damage, which might be the bonus of his own strength. Xiao Yao picked up another stool and smashed it on the axe on the zombie's head, -17. It seemed to work. As long as he kept smashing the axe, the bleeding damage would not stop. Xiao Yao quickly scanned the area, picked up the panel on the side of the stove, raised the panel and smashed it down again and again on the axe on the zombie's head. Crack! I don't know how many times he smashed it, and the panel cracked in the middle. Xiao Yao took the cracked wood and kept hitting the zombie's head with his left and right hands. Seeing that the zombie's health bar had reached the bottom, the moment the health bar was emptied, the zombie was silent, stopped moving, and lay on the windowsill. From beginning to end, the zombie did not crawl over. Experience plus 50 money plus 80. This zombie gave Xiao Yao 50 experience and 80 yuan, and then took the lunchbox. Xiao Yao half squatted, breathing heavily. His arms were so sore that he couldn't lift them. It seemed that he still lacked exercise. This output of strength was tiring. Moreover, without a suitable weapon, killing zombies would be exhausting. With his basic strength bonus of 10 points, it would take 50 continuous attacks to kill a zombie. This was not okay. With a level 10 body, it was so difficult to face a level 1 zombie. Even the most basic survival became a problem, not to mention going out to find a power bank. If he ran into a group of zombies, Wouldn't he just be reborn? The axe of the wood axe had been completely embedded in the zombie's head, and only the handle of the axe could be seen. Xiao Yao pulled it twice with force, but the axe was stuck in the zombie's head and didn't move. What should he do? Killing a zombie would cost him a weapon, and he couldn't afford the loss. If he can't pull it out, he won't pull it out for the time being. It's not advisable to stay here for a long time. Xiao Yao didn't waste too much time. He lifted the curtain of the inner room to see what tools were in the inner room. There was a cabinet on the kang. Xiao Yao flipped through it. There were only some clothes. There was a table in the corner with some daily necessities and 2 boxes. However, these 2 boxes were made of plastic. It seemed that he could only use these 2 boxes as a footstool. He didn't know if they could support his body. He decided to give it a try. Xiao Yao carried the 2 boxes and walked out of the bungalow. He stacked the 2 boxes at the foot of the west wall. Xiao Yao held the wall and stepped on the edge of the box to test the load-bearing capacity. The quality was okay. As long as he didn't step in the middle of the plastic box, he could support his body by stepping on the edge of the box. Xiao Yao climbed up the box tremblingly, stepped on the edge of the box with his 2 feet, held the top of the wall with both hands, and climbed over the wall with force. Chapter 67 I Want to Go Home. Plop. Xiao Yao jumped down from the wall. His 160-pound weight left 2 deep footprints on the ground. Without stopping for too long, Xiao Yao ran directly to the north room. His health had reached the bottom. Xiao Yao glanced at his health and saw 12/200. If he stayed for a while longer, he would become a zombie. Xiao Yao didn't want to be a zombie. The 160-pound fat man ran out of a shadow. Xiao Yao, what's wrong? I seem to hear the sound of zombies again. Yeah, I just killed a zombie and almost died in its mouth. You're not hurt, are you? No, it's just that the axe got stuck in the zombie's head and can't be retrieved. I'm glad you're not hurt. Oh, by the way, your bag. Xiao Yao took off his backpack from his back, took out the bag of red ginseng, and the power bank, and gave the rest to Sister Jinlian. It's already this late and I still need to charge my phone. Which is more important, my life or my phone? Of course my life is more important. I charge my phone just to check the time. Besides, I'm used to playing with my phone every day. I can't adapt to being without my phone. I can't even go to the toilet without my phone. To be honest, this wouldn't work. Xiao Yao could only make up an excuse. He took the power bank and connected the phone to the charging cable. Seeing the phone start to charge slowly, Zhuan, who was tense in his heart, relaxed a little. The phone only had 8% battery left. This was too exciting. In fact, it couldn't be upgraded, but that was secondary. The important thing was that the mineral water and other things stored in the phone's space could not be taken out when the phone was turned off. Although Sister Jinlian had a power bank, it only had 1 bar of power, and she didn't know how much it could charge. She had to get some more power banks. Xiao Yao picked up the green backpack next to him. This was what Sister Jinlian had found. It seemed that he couldn't rely entirely on the space on his mobile phone. If his mobile phone turned off one day, wouldn't it be a problem to even eat? He had tens of thousands of bottles of mineral water, but in the end, he might die of thirst because his mobile phone ran out of power. He had to prepare some food and emergency items in his backpack. He couldn't put all his eggs in one basket. Xiao Yao's eyes moved to the plastic bag again. Red ginseng bag can be used to make soup. The effect is unknown. What exactly is red ginseng? Sister Jinlian, do you know something like red ginseng? It's a health product. It has the effect of replenishing blood and invigorating qi. Does anyone know the truth? Oh, then how do you usually eat it? It can be boiled into soup directly, or it can be dried and ground into powder and used as a traditional Chinese medicine to soak in water. Sister Jinlian, can you help me boil this red ginseng into soup? Brother Xiao Yao, is it appropriate to make a fire at this time? Won't the smoke from the chimney attract zombies? It should be fine. Judging from the zombies we have come into contact with so far, the IQ of zombies is not as good as that of a child. They are simply more sensitive to living creatures. For example, live chickens and living people may not be sensitive to smoke. Maybe they don't even know what smoke is. Then if the zombies come, we will really have nowhere to hide. Don't worry, Sister Jinlian, if the zombies come, I will definitely stand in front of you. Besides, there is thick fog outside now, and the smoke caused by the fire is not so easy to see clearly. Okay, Xiao Yao, I can help you make soup, but we have to go to the south bungalow, there is no stove here. Xiao Yao glanced at his health bar, 20 out of 200, it should take less than a few seconds to run over there, no problem. Okay, let's run over there, don't stay in the thick fog for too long. Okay. Jinlian and Xiao Yao arranged the towels together and wrapped them around their mouths. Run. Xiao Yao saw that Jinlian was also ready, and after shouting, he quickly opened the door and ran to the south bungalow. Not far away, Xiao Yao and the others quickly arrived at the south bungalow, closed the door, and what came into view was a corpse facing them. Mom! With a heart-wrenching cry, Xiao Yao grabbed Jinlian to stop her from throwing herself on the corpse on the ground. The whole ground was stained red with blood. The body of Jinlian's mother was next to the stove not far away. The whole room was filled with thick fog. Oh no, the window here is broken, and there is thick fog in the house. Xiao Yao found that the poisoning state did not disappear after entering the house. He took Jinlian's hand, opened the door again and ran to the north. They almost died. The windows of the south bungalow had been smashed by zombies. The whole room was full of thick fog. If Xiao Yao hadn't been paying attention to his blood volume and saw that the poisoning state had not disappeared, they would have turned into zombies now. Woo. 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 Sister Jinlian next to him couldn't control her emotions the moment she saw her mother's body. She sobbed softly, I'm sorry. Xiao Yao felt very sorry. If he hadn't pulled Sister Jinlian over, Sister Jinlian's tears would not have been aroused again. Xiao Yao pulled Sister Jinlian into his arms and patted her back gently. I'm sorry, Sister Jinlian. Woo. Woo. Wu Jinlian didn't reply to Xiao Yao's words. She lay hard in Xiao Yao's arms and cried wantonly. Her tears wet Xiao Yao's chest. Xiao Yao didn't say anything. He patted Jinlian's back gently, silently comforting her. Xiao Yao just hugged Sister Jinlian quietly and let her vent. Although he had only met Jinlian's mother once, Xiao Yao felt that Jinlian's mother was a very kind elder, without the airs of an elder. What he didn't expect was that they had just met once, and then they were separated by the yin and yang. Looking at Jinlian who was crying in his arms, Xiao Yao thought of his family. Why did he go out and have fun when he knew that the end of the world was coming? Why didn't he tell his family the truth in advance? His body and hair were given by his parents, and everything he had was given by his parents. What right did he have to hide it from his family? Even if his parents wanted a mobile phone system, he actually had no reason to refute it, because everything he had was given by them. Without them, he would not have come to this world. Why didn't he confess to his parents? The heaven-defying mobile phone system, the coming of the end of the world, all of this, why didn't he mention it? I didn't tell my parents before, and I even said that the fewer people who know, the better. I kept it a secret. What right did I have to keep a secret in front of my parents? Dad? Mom? Xiao Yao shouted silently in his heart, are you okay? Don't be in trouble. Although I didn't go home for only one night, it felt like several centuries. My cell phone had no signal and I had completely lost contact with my family. I didn't know if my family would be worried if they couldn't find me. I didn't know if my family listened to me and stayed at home. I didn't go to class yesterday and didn't go home at night. Would my family be worried about me at this moment and sad about losing news of me? Jinlian's crying stimulated Xiao Yao's mind. Xiao Yao urgently thought of his parents. What's the point of protecting his girlfriend, his buddies, and his savior? If he couldn't even protect his own parents, what's the point of protecting others? Exclamation mark. I am a person who has been reborn once, but I am still stupid enough to protect others? Have you forgotten who you are? Exclamation mark. Xiao Yao gritted his teeth and tears burst out. I want to go home. Chapter 68, A Gamble. I want to go home. This was Xiao Yao's only thought at the moment. His only goal was to go home, no matter how dangerous the way home was. Before that, he needed to prepare. After all, both of them had little HP, and Xiao Yao was not sure whether to take Sister Jinlian with him. Sister Jinlian would only recover HP when she slept. The journey was dangerous, and Xiao Yao was not sure whether he could ensure Sister Jinlian's safety. Xiao Yao did not even have much confidence in ensuring his own safety. Jinlian gradually stopped crying and got up from Xiao Yao's arms. Sorry, I wet your clothes. It's okay. Xiao Yao also opened his eyes hard, trying to hold back the tears in his eyes. Jinlian looked at Xiao Yao's eyes full of tears, and the tears that had stopped were a little bit out of control. Xiao Yao hurriedly helped Sister Jinlian wipe away the tears from her eyes. Sister Jinlian, please accept my condolences. We have no way to control what happened. All we can do now is to try our best to stay alive. Only by staying alive can we have hope. But how can we survive? Are we just going to sit and eat and wait to die? We don't have much food and we can't last for a few days. Don't worry, I'll find a way to solve the food problem. You just need to maintain your mentality and don't be too pessimistic. As long as we can hold on until the fog disappears, maybe the country will send someone to rescue us soon. Believe in the country, believe in yourself, and believe in me. Xiao Yao solemnly held Sister Jinlian's arm. Whether a person can survive depends on whether she has the belief to live. Once there is no hope of life, her mentality will soon collapse. Food and water were not issues that Xiao Yao considered, because his mobile phone had tens of thousands of bottles of mineral water and more than 2,000 chickens stored in it. What Xiao Yao was most concerned about at the moment was the problem of charging. Without the sun, solar energy equipment could not be used. He urgently needed charging equipment, power banks, generators, and all possible power supply devices. Sister Jinlian, next, I may have to prepare to go home. Xiao Yao thought about it and decided to tell Jinlian to see if she was willing to go with him. If Jinlian was willing to go with him, Xiao Yao would do his best to protect her safety. If Sister Jinlian did not want to go with him, Xiao Yao would leave her enough food and water for a week. As long as Jinlian stayed at home honestly, there should be no problem surviving. If the disaster did not pass for a week and no rescue came, then it would be up to fate. Xiao Yao could only pray to God to let Sister Jinlian continue to survive. Xiao Yao could not leave all the food and water. He was not yet so great as to sacrifice himself for others. To save others, he had to protect himself. This was the truth that the old lady who was touching porcelain taught him. Go home. Yes, go home. I'm worried about my family's safety now. So, I have to go home, even if there are thousands of obstacles on the road, I have to go home. But, in this way, we may come into contact with countless zombies, and we may not even be able to get out of this thick fog. I know, but I have no choice, otherwise I will be uneasy. Do I have to go back? I have to go back. Sister Jinlian, I'm not sure if I can survive this journey, so I have no way to guarantee your safety. You decide whether you stay or go with me. I will respect your choice. I don't know. Let me think about it calmly. Don't worry, Sister Jinlian, if you decide to stay, I will leave you enough food and water for a week, so don't have any psychological burden or concerns. Xiao Yao watched Sister Jinlian walk to the window alone, staring at the thick fog outside the window. Xiao Yao did not disturb her. This is the reality. Everyone has their own concerns and ideas. Because of the coming of this disaster, any choice will determine the future life and death. Xiao Yao is not a god. With a shake of the hegemonic aura, everyone licked the soles of their shoes like a dog, regardless of their lives. Xiao Yao looked at Sister Jinlian's back and thought silently in his heart, if you are willing to go with me, if you are willing to trust me, then there will always be someone standing between the zombies and you, and that is me. Unless I fall, I will never let you face the zombies alone. If you trust me, I will hold up the sky for you. Without interfering too much with Sister Jinlian's thinking, Xiao Yao glanced at his health value of 45 out of 200, and recovered some of his health value. Xiao Yao decided to move the stove from the south bungalow first. Since there was thick fog in the south bungalow, it would be better to light the stove in the north room and make soup. Xiao Yao was now looking forward to the effect of the soup made from red ginseng. Since it was a tonic, it would definitely be useful. After tidying up the towel, Xiao Yao opened the door and quickly ran to the south bungalow. The stove was an ordinary household stove. It could be added with coal or firewood. However, there had been many incidents of gas poisoning in recent years, so many families in rural areas only burned firewood. The fire was strong and there would be no gas poisoning. The most important thing was that firewood saved money. Xiao Yao dismantled the stove. After testing the weight, it was okay. The stove was a little lighter than he had imagined. Perhaps it was because his strength had increased a lot. Without staying for too long, Xiao Yao moved the stove to the north room, and returned to the south bungalow to get a non-stick pan and some kitchen utensils such as a spoon, a kitchen knife, and a panel. There happened to be some chopped firewood in the yard, so Xiao Yao moved a lot of firewood to the north room. Although making a fire would produce smoke, the north room was big enough, and the smoke from the drier firewood was relatively small. Xiao Yao did not open the door for ventilation. Xiao Yao took out the red ginseng in the plastic bag. There were 5 handfuls of red ginseng, but Xiao Yao did not take out all of them, only 1 handful, because he did not know the ratio and how much to put. So for a while, Xiao Yao was confused again. "Let me do it." Just when Xiao Yao was in trouble, the voice of Sister Jinlian sounded next to him. Xiao Yao tilted his head and looked at Jinlian walking towards him with lotus steps, with a faint smile on her face, as beautiful as the azalea blooming in early spring. "Sister Jinlian, you." Xiao Yao was confused for a moment. "Brother Xiao Yao, I don't know anything else, but at least I can cook. From now on, leave the housework like cooking to me." "Sister Jinlian, are you sure you want to go with me? Otherwise, do you want me to stay alone in this shabby house, crying every night?" Sister Jinlian, what you said sounds a bit weird to me. Go and wash the red ginseng. Today, I'll make you some red ginseng soup." Although staying could gain temporary safety, Jinlian wanted to take a gamble, for herself and for tomorrow. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, Shovel Not Allowed. Today is the 2nd day of the apocalypse. Most of the survivors who managed to survive have not recovered from the fear of last night and are huddled at home waiting for the disaster to pass. Some people who did not prepare food ventured out of their homes to sneak out in search of food. Some unlucky ones were discovered by zombies in the thick fog and were besieged and killed by zombies. Some unlucky ones stayed in the thick fog for too long and were transformed into zombies, and those who were waiting for them at home never waited for them to come back. More and more people dared not step out of the door again, not even if there was a grain of rice or a drop of water. They would not step out of the door again, because going out meant uncertainty about life and death, and staying would just endure hunger. They dared not gamble with their lives. At least, only 1 day had passed and many people could still hold on. Xiao Yao went to the south bungalow to fetch a bucket of water and wash the red ginseng. Before returning, he took out a few bottles of mineral water and a whole piece of chicken. He opened the door, carried the bucket into the house, and quickly closed it. Sister Jinlian in front of him had already heated up the pot and was waiting for Xiao Yao to come back with a bucket. When Xiao Yao came back from the south bungalow, he also brought back a lot of soy sauce, salt and other seasonings for cooking. It seems that some seasonings for these foods need to be prepared, otherwise it would be difficult to swallow the dry chicken. "Sister Jinlian, after boiling the red ginseng soup, let's cook a pot of chicken soup." Xiao Yao put the mineral water and chicken on a stool. "Not bad. I can have meat tonight." Jinlian could understand where the chicken that suddenly appeared came from. After all, Xiao Yao killed chickens all day yesterday, but this mineral water, if Jinlian guessed correctly, she didn't have it at home. Could it be from Uncle Wang's house? Jinlian didn't ask. Xiao Yao said he would find a way to deal with the food. These were not her concerns. But Jinlian was a little curious. This was a killed chicken. There was no boiling water. How did Xiao Yao pluck the chicken feathers? Usually, when killing a chicken, you put the chicken in boiling water, and then the chicken feathers will be easy to pluck. But Xiao Yao was out for a short while. The stove was always watching, and Xiao Yao didn't come to pour boiling water. The chicken was still a little strange. But judging from the appearance of the chicken, it was indeed chicken. What secrets did Xiao Yao have? Gulp. Gulp. The water in the pot was bubbling. The water had boiled. Sister Jinlian put the washed red ginseng into the boiling water. After a while, the whole pot was light red, and then the color became darker and darker, as if a bag of brown sugar was added. The water in the whole pot now looked like a pot of brown sugar water. Cook it for another half an hour. Sister Jinlian covered the pot and boiled the soup. The heat must be right, otherwise the nutrients in the red ginseng cannot be fully released. Jinlian sat beside the stove, staring at the flames, wondering what she was thinking. Xiao Yao was on the other side, preparing his weapons. He only found a kitchen knife and a boning knife from the southern bungalow. The kitchen knife was the same as the one he had yesterday. Xiao Yao did not expect that the attributes of this boning knife were higher than the attack attributes of the firewood axe. The attack attribute of the boning knife reached an astonishing 10-12. Xiao Yao tested the sharpness. The attributes of the boning knife plus his own strength bonus. When Xiao Yao swung hard, he could easily split the firewood. This attack was impressive. It was difficult for ordinary people to split the wood with an axe. Xiao Yao's full strength attack could actually split the wood directly. After trying several pieces of wood in a row, Xiao Yao had a certain understanding of his control over his strength. After all, he had already reached level 10, and his strength was from the original 1 point of strength to the current 10 points of strength. Xiao Yao has never been able to test the strength of his attributes. From this point of view, his strength has increased a little, which shows how hard the zombie's head is. Even with such attributes, he can't split the zombie's head at once. Maybe the zombie's head is the hardest part of the zombie. Why don't he attack the zombie's weakness, such as the throat? But Xiao Yao is not sure whether the zombie can still breathe. Otherwise, he can attack the zombie's limbs and joints first, and use a little force to achieve a great result. Since his combat power cannot fight against the zombie's head-on for the time being, why not use wits, and use tactics when he is poor, and cover with firepower when he is rich? Now is the time to engage in guerrilla warfare. After all, saving his life is the first priority. Xiao Yao played with the boning knife in his hand and fell into deep thought. It was sharp enough, but the attack distance was too close. Close combat is never the best choice. Xiao Yao searched the yard carefully again to see if there were any long weapons. After a while, Xiao Yao opened the door and came back carrying a shovel. The attack range of this shovel was quite long, but it was a little difficult to use. The attribute was also pitifully low, with the same attack attribute as a kitchen knife, only 2-3. However, this shovel was long enough. Xiao Yao stayed away from Sister Jinlian and tried his hand first. Although the shovel was not a weapon, it could be used as Guangong's sword to practice. Xiao Yao raised the shovel above his head, swung it down with force, and smashed it on the firewood on the ground. The already chopped firewood was smashed to pieces, and some wood chips flew towards Xiao Yao and almost hit him in the face, which scared him. He knew that he would not suffer any loss at the hands of the zombies, but he should not get hurt. It seems that firewood cannot be played with carelessly. Xiao Yao simply tried to pick up the shovel and swung it in a circle. Using the force of inertia of the shovel was swung into a circle back and forth, and the speed was getting faster and faster. It was easy to swing but difficult to stop. Xiao Yao realized the seriousness of the problem. Oh no, if I keep swinging like this, the speed will get faster and faster, and I can't stop. Jinlian opened her mouth wide as she watched from the side, and also found something wrong. If the shovel flew out, it would be very dangerous. Xiao Yao, stop. I want to, but the shovel won't allow it. Wait a minute, I'll hide first, and then you let go. Jinlian hurried to the door of the warehouse next door. Let go. Then Jinlian closed the door and hid in the innermost part of the warehouse. What should I do? Xiao Yao found that the wooden handle of the shovel seemed to be stuck to his hand. However, the shovel made a whirring sound when it was swung up, like a tornado. Xiao Yao suddenly didn't want to let go. He might as well try again to see how fast the shovel could spin. Then Xiao Yao hardened his heart and tightly grasped the wooden handle of the shovel. Following the force of the shovel's rotation, he added his own strength. Faster. 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 Xiao Yao was completely like crazy, immersed in the fun of spinning, because at this time, his 160-pound weight was moved by the centrifugal force of the shovel. Not good. He was experiencing Xiao Yao, who was enjoying the wonderful feeling, suddenly found that the shovel flew out. Xiao Yao, who lost the shovel, suddenly felt a severe dizziness in his head. Then Xiao Yao, like a drunkard, could not control his body and staggered towards a broken bed next to him. Crack! The broken bed broke into pieces. Xiao Yao lay on the broken wood chips of the broken bed. There were stars in front of his eyes and his head was still spinning. However, Xiao Yao smiled and even wanted to laugh wildly, because in Xiao Yao's spinning vision, there was a shovel stuck in the wall like a javelin. What made Xiao Yao extremely happy was the voice coming from the system at this moment. Congratulations to the host for the first time to comprehend a skill independently. Please name the skill. Chapter 70, The buttocks are stabbed. Bang! Crack! Jinlian, who was hiding in the small warehouse, heard a loud noise outside followed by the sound of something breaking. After a while, she heard no unusual noise outside. Jinlian slowly opened the door of the warehouse and saw Xiao Yao lying on a collapsed bed. Xiao Yao, are you okay? Jinlian hurried over to check on Xiao Yao. Ahem. I'm fine, just a little dizzy. Xiao Yao's face twisted and he forced a smile. Hiss. Xiao Yao moved his body slightly and felt a burning pain in his buttocks. What's wrong, Xiao Yao? Are you injured anywhere? Jinlian looked at Xiao Yao's expression and it didn't seem fake, as if he was really in pain. Sister Jinlian, help me up, I can't seem to get up, it hurts when I move. Xiao Yao grimaced and gasped from time to time. Look at you, you're just spinning around and you might hurt yourself. Jinlian scolded Xiao Yao angrily and stretched out her hand to pull Xiao Yao, but Xiao Yao was so heavy that there was no way a weak woman like her could pull him. Xiao Yao, you're too heavy, you should lose some weight, I can't pull you at all. Jinlian tried for a long time and finally gave up, gasping for breath. You're so fat, no girl would like you. Hiss. Sister Jinlian, don't make fun of me. I don't know why. I was born fat. It might be because of my physique. I gain weight even by drinking cold water. Xiao Yao was also helpless. He had been so fat since he was reborn. Moreover, inexplicably, his food intake was much greater than before. He had to eat dozens of steamed buns a day. Could it be that I was reborn as Zubeiji? Xiao Yao touched his nose, luckily it was a human nose, and touched his ears, luckily it was not as big as a palm leaf fan. It was okay to be fat, after all, he was eating his own food. If his fatness blinded anyone or bothered anyone, tell me and I will add him to the blacklist immediately. He will not be able to drink my bottle of water or eat my chicken. Well, let's do it. Find a small notebook and write it down. If anyone says he is fat again, write it down in the notebook. If they ask me for help, I will refuse. If they really want to ask me for help, I will pay them more. The reward will be doubled. Xiao Yao looked at Jinlian who was still nagging about her weight. Oh, forget about Jinlian. This kind of nagging is comparable to that of his mother, just like his sister. The dizziness had almost recovered. Except for a little pain in the buttocks, there was no other discomfort. Xiao Yao gritted his teeth and held his breath. Sister Jinlian, help me again. Xiao Yao supported the bed next to him and Sister Jinlian's arm and slowly stood up. Hiss. It seemed that something was pierced in his buttocks. Sister Jinlian, do you think there is something piercing my buttocks? It seems to be a little painful. Let me see. Jinlian turned behind Xiao Yao and saw a small piece of wood stuck in Xiao Yao's buttocks. Xiao Yao, there is a piece of wood on your buttocks. Ah. I was wondering why it hurts so much. Xiao Yao glanced at his status and found a bleeding status under his avatar. Bleeding, lose 1 blood per minute, 26 minutes remaining. I didn't notice this icon just now. Fortunately, I learned the bodybuilding technique, otherwise I would bleed to death with the remaining 38 drops of blood. Logically, a hole in the buttocks would not cause bleeding to death, but Xiao Yao didn't dare to take the risk. What if he really died of bleeding because of a hole in the buttocks? Who can he go to for justice? No one would believe him if he told others about it, and he would only make others laugh. Sister Jinlian, please help me pull out the wood, I dare not move like this. Xiao Yao could not see the wood on his butt, so he had to ask Sister Jinlian to help pull it out. Okay, then you bear with it. Jinlian looked at the wood on Xiao Yao's butt. The wood was not big, but the area around his pants had been stained dark red by blood. Jinlian did not hesitate anymore. Pay attention, I'm going to pull it out. Ah! A high-pitched scream came out of Xiao Yao's mouth, and then Xiao Yao seemed to have thought of something and quickly covered his mouth. At this time, he must not make any sound. Who knows how many zombies are wandering around, Papa? Xiao Yao slapped himself twice. Xiao Yao, what are you doing? Jinlian was a little confused. Why did he need to slap himself twice just to pull out a piece of wood from his butt? I couldn't hold it back just now. I was shouting too loudly. I was afraid of attracting zombies. I'll teach you a lesson. Don't worry, it's not that serious. If there are zombies, they will go to the chicken farm next door first. There's a strong smell of blood over there. Oh my god. Sister Jinlian, hurry up, help me plug the hole in my butt. If you don't plug it, I'm going to die. Xiao Yao, who had just slapped himself twice, suddenly screamed again like a cat whose tail was stepped on. Okay, I'll find something to plug it for you. Jinlian was also a little flustered by Xiao Yao's sudden panic. She ran to the pile of clothes next to her to find some suitable clothes to help Xiao Yao plug his butt. But Xiao Yao was as anxious as an ant on a hot pot at this time, because Xiao Yao found that his life was declining rapidly. Bleeding. Lose 5 blood per minute. 60 minutes remaining. Looking at the life bar with 30 drops of blood left, Xiao Yao was at a loss. The bleeding state had exceeded the life recovery. Looking at the time, he was afraid that he would bleed to death in another 8 minutes. He should have known not to pull out the wood from his butt. Xiao Yao felt regretful. Now he had poked a hornet's nest. Xiao Yao didn't know how big the hole in his butt was, but Xiao Yao knew that if he didn't plug it, he would be doomed. At this time, he could no longer care about the pain in his buttocks. Xiao Yao quickly took off his pants, wearing only a pair of boxer briefs, and then quickly lay on the ground. Sister Jinlian, come on, help me plug the hole in my buttocks. Here it comes, here it comes. Jinlian held a few shirts, some white and some gray, and hurriedly circled the shirts from Xiao Yao's thighs to cover the hole in his buttocks. Don't panic, don't panic. Jinlian kept comforting Xiao Yao, and at the same time comforting herself. Jinlian circled the clothes and tied a knot with force. It's okay, it's okay. Xiao Yao, I've blocked it for you. Xiao Yao always paid attention to his bleeding status. Bleeding. 1 blood loss per minute, 60 minutes remaining. Although the duration has become, at least he won't die, huh? Xiao Yao took a long breath and lay on the ground, no longer daring to move. Just get through these 60 minutes, otherwise he will create an enhanced version of the bleeding state. I'm afraid he will burp. It's so aggrieved. Thank you, Sister Jinlian. I'm glad you're okay. I was scared to death just now. You were so jumpy. You're a grown man, but you're crying and shouting because there's a piece of wood stuck in your butt. Are you still a man? Jinlian used her right hand as a palm leaf fan to fan herself. She was very tired from the rush just now. She unbuttoned 2 buttons on her clothes and said, I'll go pour you some soup. After saying that, Jinlian walked towards the stove. Thank you, Sister Jinlian. Xiao Yao looked at Sister Jinlian's back. There were many things that Xiao Yao couldn't tell Sister Jinlian. The mobile phone system was an opportunity and also a challenge. It was a double-edged sword. Chapter 71 Red Ginseng Soup. Sister Jinlian filled a bowl of red ginseng soup and blew air into the bowl. Come on, Xiao Yao, drink the hot soup. Xiao Yao felt very familiar with this sentence. Why was it a bit like the conversation in Water Margin where Pan Jinlian fed medicine to Wu Dalin? He was not Wu Dalin, and Jinlian was not Pan Jinlian. Xiao Yao tried to get up. Oh, okay, Sister Jinlian. Xiao Yao was lying on his stomach, so he could only lift his upper body, which was not very convenient to receive the bowl. Let me feed you. Sister Jinlian saw that it was inconvenient for Xiao Yao to hold the bowl, so she simply squatted down and fed Xiao Yao soup. It's not hot anymore. Come on, open your mouth. Ah, gulp gulp. The temperature of the red ginseng soup was just right, and Xiao Yao drank the red ginseng soup into his stomach in a few big mouthfuls. Xiao Yao could feel a stream of heat flowing down his throat, passing through the esophagus, flowing through the stomach, and finally reaching the lower abdomen. Then a warm feeling came from the abdomen, which was extremely comfortable. It's so delicious, Sister Jinlian, you should drink a bowl too. Okay, I'll drink it right away. You should take a rest. I'm scared to see you like this. I was counting on you to block the zombies for me. I'm going to make chicken soup and I'll give you more later. Okay, Sister Jinlian, I can't wait to eat the chicken soup you make. After drinking a bowl of hot soup, his butt didn't hurt so much. At this time, Xiao Yao suddenly noticed that his health points were slowly increasing. His health points had actually recovered to 45/200. In addition to the bleeding state, another state was added under the avatar. Healing, restore 10 health per second, 3 seconds remaining. What is this? The effect of red ginseng soup. Xiao Yao was ecstatic. He just drank the soup and didn't pay attention to the effect of the red ginseng soup. Sister Jinlian, please help me serve another bowl of red ginseng soup. I think the soup you make is really delicious. Okay, wait until I pour out this pot of soup. I still need to use the pot to cook chicken soup. Seeing Sister Jinlian pouring the red ginseng soup into a larger basin, Xiao Yao really wanted to get up and get it himself. However, Xiao Yao didn't dare to move now, for fear of accidentally triggering another enhanced bleeding. He could only watch Jinlian do it, feeling anxious. In his eyes, Sister Jinlian's movement seemed to be dozens of times slower. Red ginseng soup, restore 10 health per second, lasts for 25 seconds. Sister Jinlian brought the red ginseng soup and went to prepare the chicken soup. Xiao Yao held the big basin, and the properties of this big bowl of red ginseng soup were displayed in the reconnaissance glasses. It was really what he wanted. This was the only soup Xiao Yao had seen, and the first soup that could restore life. Red ginseng. The old lady who was setting up a stall. It seemed that he had a few more targets. He glanced at the health value, which had been restored to 75 out of 200. It would be a waste to drink this big bowl by himself. Sister Jinlian, help me get a small bowl. Here. Sister Jinlian put down the small bowl and went to cook. Xiao Yao took the small bowl and directly scooped a bowl from the basin. Red ginseng soup, restores 10 health points per second, lasts for 5 seconds. It seems that this large basin can hold 5 bowls, plus the bowl he drank. It is 6 bowls. Good on gulp, Xiao Yao drank this bowl directly, and then drank another bowl. His health points have been restored to 175 out of 200. Although it has not been fully restored, he is no longer in critical condition. Xiao Yao tried to sit up. His buttocks didn't hurt so much, but the bleeding state still existed. There are still 52 minutes. It seems that Xiao Yao can't do strenuous exercise within this hour. His health points have recovered to almost full, and Xiao Yao is not so scared. He tried to move around. Now it doesn't affect his normal activities. Xiao Yao emptied a few bottles of mineral water and put the remaining red ginseng soup into the mineral water bottle. This is a life-saving medicine. Xiao Yao can't waste it unless it is absolutely necessary. The remaining red ginseng soup can fill 3 bottles. Xiao Yao carefully put 2 bottles of red ginseng soup into the backpack. Hey, brother Xiao Yao, are you okay? Jinlian turned around and saw Xiao Yao had sat up and was pouring red ginseng soup into a mineral water bottle. It seems like you're recovering quickly. Besides, it shouldn't be that painful if there's a piece of wood stuck in your butt. Well, it's okay. By the way, Sister Jinlian, why didn't you drink the red ginseng soup? Xiao Yao saw that Jinlian's health was still 36 out of 100, and she must have not drunk the red ginseng soup just now, so Xiao Yao put the other 2 bottles into the school bag. Sister Jinlian's health was very dangerous. Xiao Yao handed Sister Jinlian a bottle of red ginseng soup. Sister Jinlian, I found that this red ginseng soup has the effect of restoring qi and blood. After drinking a few bowls, my injuries have healed for the most part. You should drink a bottle too. You're stupid. Red ginseng soup is for replenishing qi and blood. Of course I know that. You should drink a bottle quickly. Let's finish the chicken soup later. Drink it now, otherwise it will be cold in a while. Okay, I'll drink it now. Jinlian picked up the bottle, pursed her lips and drank half of it. I'm so full, I can't drink it anymore, I'll drink it later. Okay, don't forget, you have to drink this bottle of red ginseng soup even if you don't drink the chicken soup. I see. I didn't realize that you, a grown man, are so nagging. Jinlian put the remaining half bottle of red ginseng soup aside and continued to cook chicken soup. Xiao Yao stretched out his hand and then put it down. Oh, forget it. He just needs to keep an eye on Jinlian's health. He glanced at Jinlian's health and it was already 61 out of 100. Fortunately, Jinlian would recover a lot after a night's rest. Jinlian's words also reminded Xiao Yao that he had overlooked a problem just now. It seems that this life-restoring soup cannot be drunk all the time. Although he has a big appetite and doesn't feel full after drinking a few bowls, he didn't pay attention to it. However, this soup has an upper limit. People will feel full and bloated after drinking it. Therefore, he can't take drugs all the time like in the game. This is a problem. It was gradually getting dark. It seemed that he could only spend the night here and set off for home tomorrow. By the way, how much power did his phone have? Xiao Yao took out his phone, but the light on the power bank was no longer on, proving that the power bank was out of power. There was no charging icon on the phone either. Xiao Yao checked the battery level of his phone, which was 32%. Huh? Seeing the remaining power of his phone, Xiao Yao breathed a sigh of relief. Although it was still very little, it would at least last for a while. He didn't need to search for the power bank in a hurry. Xiao Yao put the used power bank directly into his school bag. Although it couldn't be charged, Xiao Yao only had this one power bank at the moment, so he kept it. There was nothing in his school bag except 2 bottles of red ginseng soup anyway. Come, it's time for dinner, Xiao Yao, come and eat. Sister Jinlian's voice came from the side. Xiao Yao looked in the direction of the voice and saw that Sister Jinlian had already prepared the chicken soup and placed it on the table. Here it is. Xiao Yao responded and stood up to drink the chicken soup. There were several large pieces of chicken in the bowl. The blue aperture focused, and the properties of the chicken soup were also revealed. Chicken soup, eating restores hunger by 25. Xiao Yao glanced at his own hunger level of 5/100, which was already at the bottom. It seemed that he would have to drink 4 large bowls tonight. Fortunately, his stomach was big, otherwise he would not be able to drink 4 bowls of chicken soup even if he was too full to death. Xiao Yao was now glad that he was not a thin man after his rebirth, otherwise, with his small appetite and delicate intestines, he would be busy to death every day just for the hunger level. Chapter 72, Chicken Dinner. Tonight, Xiao Yao and Jin Lian finished the whole pot of chicken soup quickly. The bottom of the pot was as clean as a new pot. There were a pile of chicken bones on the table. It felt like it had been a long time since I had eaten such delicious chicken and drank such delicious chicken soup. Xiao Yao burped and picked his teeth with a small wooden stick he got from somewhere. Sister Jin Lian, your cooking skills are amazing. The taste is amazing. After saying that, Xiao Yao gave Sister Jin Lian a thumbs up. Hey, I kill chickens every day, so I try to cook. It's just a simple cooking skill. Jin Lian replied modestly, but the smile on her lips could not be concealed. Then I'll count on you, Sister Jin Lian, for the oral food in the future. The taste is really great. The chefs of star-rated hotels are probably at this level. Xiao Yao, you think too highly of me. You're even nitpicking. Survive one day, mobile phone space +1 at this moment, a line of prompts appeared in Xiao Yao's vision. It seems that the mobile phone space has increased by 1 grid. It's just right to check his inventory now. He saw that the mobile phone space has 7 grids. The items in the space are mineral water, bottle. 990, mineral water, pack. 378, chicken. 999, chicken. 999, chicken. 501, soul locking beads, empty, money. 11,230. Water is sufficient. Although there are a lot of chickens, they are all raw. It seems that there is a chance of poisoning if they are eaten directly. If they need to be cooked, I don't know how many conditions there will be to cook chicken soup in the future. I will bring up a few later. While there is a ready-made stove and firewood, I will cook more. The money is still too little. I have to ask Sister Jin Lian to return the 20,000 she gave her and give it to me later. I haven't looked at my attributes for a long time. Since I reached level 10, although I killed a few zombies, I haven't leveled up for a long time. I don't know how much experience I have now. Xiao Yao flipped through his personal information. Xiao Yao, race, human level. 10 combat power. 37 health. 175 out of 200 hunger. 100/100, when hunger is 0, 1 horsepower is lost per minute, attack. 10 defense. 1 health recovery. 1/minute strength. 10, every 1 point of strength increases health by 1 and attack by 1, agility. 10 intelligence. 17 experience. 404/5120 inches. Xiao Yao recalled that the zombies he had encountered in the past few days were all level 1 to 3 zombies. An ordinary level 1 zombie had 500 health and 40-50 combat power. The camp prompts that had appeared before seemed to multiply the basic attributes of the zombies by 5, and double the attributes each time they were upgraded, which means that the health of the most common zombies would be 500. Xiao Yao had not joined the zombie camp, so he didn't know how the zombies were upgraded. However, Xiao Yao also made a preliminary assumption. Since ordinary humans would lose blood and then turn into zombies in the thick fog, then in the thick fog, this poisoning state might be beneficial to the zombie camp. In other words, even if the zombies just stood in the thick fog, they would slowly upgrade. This thick fog was equivalent to giving the zombie camp experience by hanging up. In other words, it might be more difficult to encounter level 1 zombies in the future, and the zombies encountered in the future would become more and more difficult to eliminate. I just didn't know how fast they would upgrade. Secondly, the zombies should upgrade by sucking human flesh and blood, and maybe eliminating humans is their way of upgrading, which is equivalent to zombies upgrading by killing monsters. At present, Xiao Yao can only think of these 2 ways. From this point of view, the problem in front of him is very serious. To kill a level 1 zombie, with the attributes of ordinary humans at level 1, according to his own level 1 attributes, his attack is about 1, plus the attribute bonus of kitchen knives and hatchets, and people with better weapons, the attack is at most 4. An ordinary level 1 human needs to attack 125 times in a row to kill a zombie. Even if there is a fatal attack, it will take about 100 attacks. During this period, he must avoid turning into a zombie due to poisoning and avoid being scratched by zombies. Although the IQ of zombies is slightly lower, it is too difficult to achieve 0 damage in these 100 times of output. Xiao Yao felt gloomy. In this disaster, countless humans will become zombies in the early stage, and how many of the survivors can survive? Xiao Yao clenched his fists. Even if the zombies stop moving, they are still upgrading. He can't fall behind too much. After all, he only has some ability to protect himself now. If we had firearms such as pistols and machine guns, it would be easier to deal with zombies. However, this is not the United States. We have only seen pictures of guns on the internet, and it is impossible to expect to see them in reality. By the way, I don't know what the situation is like at the national level. Is the disaster regional, national, or global? Why is there no movement from the country after a day? Wouldn't it be enough to just use planes, cannons, and tanks to shoot at the zombies? However, there has been no movement of any firearms so far. It seems that the situation is worse than we imagined. Now we can only think of ways to protect ourselves. Sister Jinlian, I'll get a few more chickens later. While conditions permit, let's cook more chicken and eat it on the way. Okay, but have you ever thought that bringing too much stuff may affect our mobility? I'll think of a way to deal with this. And he did not know what she was thinking. Xiao Yao did not feel embarrassed to say more. After trying the wound and finding it was fine, he threw the shirt away. After all, the shirt looked like it had been stored for a long time. If he got infected with tetanus virus or something, he would die unjustly. Sister Jinlian, I'll go to the south bungalow to get some bedding. It's cold at night, and you'll catch a cold if you just wear clothes. Okay, be careful. Jinlian looked at Xiao Yao's back as he walked out. It would be nice if Xiao Yao was her boyfriend. He was a little fat, but Xiao Yao was not a bad person. Fat could also be understood as strong. Thinking of Xiao Yao's round figure just now, Jinlian laughed. He cried and screamed when a hole was pierced on his buttocks. He was still a child who never grew up. Thinking about herself, sometimes she didn't hold the kitchen knife well, and her fingers were cut and bleeding several times, but she didn't say a word. Following Xiao Yao, could he really protect herself? However, she had no choice. At least, Xiao Yao had killed many zombies independently, so he should be reliable. It's just that she didn't expect that a man's legs would have such white skin. Thinking of this, Jinlian laughed. If he wasn't a little fat, Xiao Yao could really be said to be a pretty boy. Chapter 73 Thunderbolt Whirlwind. The night was getting darker, and the fog was still thick. Occasionally, a few screams could be heard in the foggy night, and then they quickly disappeared into the ruthless darkness. Maybe it was another unlucky person who was discovered by the zombies. Now the outside world was probably full of zombies. How long could those lucky survivors survive by relying on their own food? Xiao Yao brought back a few quilts from the south bungalow, and 5 chickens taken out from the mobile phone space. Xiao Yao deliberately lost blood in the thick fog outside, and only went into the house when his life was 20/200. He seized every minute to increase his proficiency in the bodybuilding technique. I don't know how the level 2 bodybuilding technique is, but at least it is better than the 1 life recovery per minute. The proficiency of the level 1 bodybuilding technique has reached 520,000. The road to upgrading is long and bumpy. Sister Jinlian, I have to trouble you again. Cook a few more chickens. Xiao Yao handed Jinlian the 5 chickens he took out from the mobile phone space. Okay, it's still early and there's nothing to do, so it's a good time to kill time. Sister Jinlian took the 5 chickens from Xiao Yao and didn't ask where they were from. Xiao Yao didn't want to say it, so why bother asking? Watching Sister Jinlian take the 5 chickens from his hand, Xiao Yao found that there was nothing strange on Sister Jinlian's face, and she didn't ask where he got the chicken from. Xiao Yao breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't know how to explain if Sister Jinlian asked. Fortunately, Sister Jinlian didn't ask. The two of them seemed to have formed a tacit understanding. Xiao Yao liked this tacit understanding very much. You don't ask, I don't say, we eat meat and fight zombies together, it's good like this. Many things don't have a reason, like this doomsday, why? Who'll answer? God asked a question, but he couldn't answer it himself. Of course Xiao Yao remembered that he had a skill that he had learned for the first time on his own, but he hadn't named it yet. However, he had injured his butt at that time, and just as the naming prompt came out, Sister Jinlian came out to ask him again. Then he had dinner, and he hadn't had time to think of a name. Now that he was full of food and wine, Xiao Yao took a stool and sat aside, flipping through his skill list. Personal skills, academics, general, intelligence +7, detection, can detect information about items and creatures within a range of 3 meters that are not higher than your own level 5. Cost, money 60/minute. Open close body forging level 1, passive, only a body that can withstand thousands of tempers can be invincible. If you want to learn to attack, you must first learn to defend, and the best defense is not to break the defense. Defense +1, life +1, recover life +1 per minute, and gain 1 proficiency for every 1 life consumed. The current proficiency is 520/10000. Unnamed skills, please name it first. I currently only have 4 skills. The intelligence increased by the original 4 small projects of elementary school, junior high school, and university is now uniformly divided into academics. Xiao Yao can click on the classification of academics and find the classification of elementary school, junior high school, and university. It seems that I still have to learn the knowledge again if I have the chance, and I can even self-study the knowledge of master's and doctoral degrees and continue my studies. Learning is endless. This academic skill is probably endless. This is a passive skill with no upper limit, but the development process of academics is much more difficult than killing monsters and upgrading. The second is reconnaissance, and there is also body forging. The bottom is the skill that I have comprehended, and I need to name it myself. Xiao Yao didn't know what name to give it for a while. Thinking back to the situation just now, Xiao Yao swung the shovel, and the attack relied on the attack power of the shovel itself, the centrifugal force of the shovel's rotation, and the speed of rotation. The damage caused by the combined factors, the shovel turned to the end like a tornado. Xiao Yao remembered that a hero in a game seemed to have this skill, a signature skill of a swordsman. Blade storm? No, I don't have a sword. Shovel storm? This is a bit too rustic. Besides, although it spins very fast, it doesn't seem to reach the level of a storm. Spiral slash, spiral stab, whirlwind drill, Pegasus meteor spin. Wow, how can naming something be more difficult than killing zombies? Xiao Yao felt that his brain cells were about to melt. Since it can't reach the level of a storm, but it looks like a small tornado, why not call it? Exclamation mark. Xiao Yao's mind was clear for a while, and he finally decided on the name, Thunderbolt Whirlwind Slash, cool and domineering, but the simple Whirlwind Slash was a bit too petty, so Xiao Yao added a Thunderbolt in front. Congratulations to the host for successfully naming a skill. Xiao Yao couldn't wait to click on the named skill. Thunderbolt Whirlwind Slash Level 1, continuous attack skill, can move in the specified direction, continuously attack surrounding enemy units, will not be stunned or knocked back during continuous attack, will have a strong dizziness after the skill ends, please use with caution. Causes 45% of the basic attack attribute attack damage, movement speed reduced by 30%. Can stack 1 layer of status per second during continuous attack, up to 3 levels, each stage of attack damage increased by 5%, attack distance increased by 1 meter, skill consumes 2 mental power second, stuns for 1 minute after the skill ends, unable to attack or move. Skill proficiency 0/10000. After seeing the skill introduction of Thunderbolt Whirlwind Slash, Xiao Yao felt as disgusted as if he had opened a legendary treasure chest and found a garlic. This skill was useless no matter how you looked at it. His attack damage was not high to begin with, and he could only exert 45% of the damage with this skill. Even if it was stacked to 3 layers, it was only 60%. What's the point? My current attack power is 10, and I can only play 6 with skills. My movement speed has also been reduced. There is a 1-minute dizziness after the skill ends. Damn it, the 1 minute of dizziness after the skill ends is enough for zombies to kill me several times. Xiao Yao closed the skill list angrily. Because the host comprehends the active skill, the personal information turns on the mental power. Another prompt appeared. Turn on the mental power? Xiao Yao clicked on his personal information again. Xiao Yao, race, human level. 10 combat power. 37 life. 30 out of 200 mental power. 127 127 hunger. 100/100, when hunger is 0, 1 blood loss per minute, attack. 10 defense. 1 life recovery. 1/minute strength. 10, every 1 point of strength increases life by 1 and attack by 1, agility. 10 intelligence. 17, every 1 point of intelligence increases mental power by 1, experience. 404/5120 inches. After reading the instructions, Xiao Yao found that his mental power only increased by 1 point when he leveled up 1 level. His health reached 200, but his mental power was only 127 points. According to the skill consumption of Thunderbolt Whirlwind, he could keep spinning for 1 minute. According to his current 10 unarmed attacks, the total damage he could cause in 1 minute was about 380. This set of skills could not kill a level 1 zombie at all. A level 1 zombie already had 500 health points, and he could only hit 380 health points with a set of skills. Moreover, he would fall into a dizzy state after 1 minute. Wouldn't he be able to stare blankly after using the skills? And the skills only lasted for 1 minute? This time was too short, and it did not meet his standard of manliness at all. Some people had a mobile phone that took 2 hours to charge. 5 minutes of talking, 1 minute of my turn will waste 1 minute. This skill, I can't afford to lose that person. This is the only skill that I have learned for the first time, but it is such a useless skill. Xiao Yao wants to take the phone apart to see what CPU it has, whether it is American product, and just mess with himself. But then again, the only use of this skill is probably that it is a group attack skill, and the attack distance can reach 3 meters when it is fully stacked. It may not be useful against zombies, but it should be useful against weak enemies with less than 380 HP, or even lower. Not all enemies have 0 defense, and less than 300 HP, right? What kind of enemy has less than 300 HP? Xiao Yao accidentally glanced at Sister Jinlian. Chapter 74. The original form of zombies. Human. The original form of the zombie. Xiao Yao suddenly remembered that, at present, the only creatures with less than 300 horsepower are creatures other than zombies. The natives of this planet, that is, humans, even if they reach level 10, still have only 200 HP. Oh, and there are also chickens in the chicken farm next door, and even other animals with low HP. This skill, it seems, is not used to deal with zombies for the time being. At least before there are weapons with higher attack power, this skill is probably useless. I don't know how many chickens are left next door. It seems that I can kill the chickens first tomorrow. Although a chicken only gives 2 experience points, a mosquito is still meat no matter how small it is. It is much easier than killing zombies. It's just right to test my new skills. It seems that a chicken has only 20 HP. Thunderbolt Whirlwind Slash can be used to kill it in a few seconds. If it weren't for the poor visibility at night, Xiao Yao would have wanted to climb over the wall to the next door to kill the chickens. Xiao Yao, the chicken soup is ready, Sister Jinlian shouted to Xiao Yao at this moment. Xiao Yao looked in the direction of the voice and saw several whole chickens steaming. There is no container, so only 1 pot of chicken soup is used. The others can only be put on the table. Well, thank you for your hard work, Sister Jinlian. With these chickens, we can eat for 1 to 2 days. Xiao Yao looked at the 5 chickens on the table. Broiler chicken, eat to restore 100 hunger points. A whole chicken can restore 100 hunger points. Xiao Yao found that the hunger point is consumed by 100 points every day, so if he eats these 5 chickens by himself, he can last for 5 days. With a golden lotus, he can also last for about 3 days without cooking. I don't know if I can cook after going out. It would be great if I can take these stoves, firewood, salt and seasonings with me. I was reminded by my own idea. I have a mobile phone system, so it is not a problem to bring a wood stove. The seasoning can also be directly put into the school bag. Thinking of this, Xiao Yao suddenly had a bold idea. Why not put everything into a big box? In this way, if the box is put into the mobile phone space, it will not take up too much space. I was stupid. Why didn't I think of this problem before? I can pack it myself. In this way, I can put more things in the mobile phone space. Sister Jinlian, just sleep here tonight. We will leave for home tomorrow. Well, it's getting late and I'm a little sleepy. Sister Jinlian yawned, it's all your fault. I used to have an old bed to lie on, but now it's rotten and we can only lean against the wall. I'm really sorry. Wait for me to give you a big Simmons mattress to sleep on. Okay, I'll wait for you. Jinlian found a board and sat down with her back against the wall. She surrounded herself with a bedding that Xiao Yao brought from the bungalow in the south. When she just put on the bedding, a strong smell came. Sister Jinlian frowned. The bedding smelled of sweat, but there was no way. If she didn't cover herself with a quilt, she would catch a cold at night. Catching a cold on a day like this would be bad. It would be a problem to even buy medicine. Jinlian pulled the quilt down hard, away from her nose so that the smell would not be so strong. I'm going to sleep first. You should also go to bed early. You need to be well rested so that you can help me fight the zombies. I'll sit for a while. Sister Jinlian, you go to sleep first. I'll help you keep watch. Don't be too hard. Got it. Good night, Sister Jinlian. Good night. Maybe she was too tired, or maybe Jinlian felt more at ease with Xiao Yao keeping watch. It didn't take long for Sister Jinlian to fall asleep. Xiao Yao saw Jinlian fall asleep, walked a little further away, and sorted out his backpack. There were still 4 small bundles of red ginseng, 2 inferior blood essences, a dead power bank, a charger, and a charging cable in the backpack. Xiao Yao put the backpack on the ground and tried to collect it with his mobile phone. The backpack turned into mosaics and then disappeared. Pick up backpack 1. The prompt showed that it had been received in the mobile phone space. Xiao Yao opened the mobile phone space and there was an icon of a school bag in the newly added space today. Xiao Yao took out the school bag again, opened it and looked at it. The original things inside were all there. It seemed that this method was feasible. You could put a single item that didn't need to be stacked in the backpack and then directly access the backpack. But there was a problem. You didn't know what was in the backpack. If you had more backpacks in the future, you didn't know which backpack contained what. If you wanted to find one of them, you had to take out all the backpacks and search. It would be very troublesome. Since backpacks can be collected, then boxes should also be collected. Xiao Yao glanced at the box next to the clothes and collected them. Pick up box 1. It really worked. Xiao Yao took out all the old clothes in the box, and then put the soul locking bead in the mobile phone space. A small bead took up a mobile phone space, which was too extravagant. Then put the box with only 1 soul locking bead into the mobile phone space. In the future, collect a few more boxes, or even larger boxes with more things, waiting to collect a truck directly, and then the truck compartment can put a lot of things. Huh? Thinking of this question, Xiao Yao seemed to have never thought about how big things can be collected in the mobile phone space. A car? A truck? An airplane? Or an aircraft carrier? Why not just take the earthen and try? Xiao Yao tried to take the earthen, but found that there was no reaction at all. Maybe he was thinking too much? If he took the earthen, where would he go? He would be suffocated to death if he appeared directly in a vacuum without oxygen. How big a thing could be put in the mobile phone space? Xiao Yao was very curious and wanted to try it, but there was nothing to try in his sight, so he had to give up for the time being. Xiao Yao retracted his sight and tried the cooked chicken, which was still warm. Then he put the cooked chicken into the mobile phone space. 5 whole chickens could not be put in the backpack, and the box where the old clothes were just put was a bit dirty. He put them in the mobile phone space and took them out directly when he wanted to eat. That night, fatigue also swept Xiao Yao's nerves. Xiao Yao glanced in the direction of Sister Jinlian, only to see that Sister Jinlian had fallen to one side without the quilt covering her. Xiao Yao helped Jinlian pull the quilt up, and seeing that Sister Jinlian had left a quilt for him, Xiao Yao picked up the quilt, found a stool and came to the door. He tried the door and inserted the bolt from the inside. This was safer. He sat at the door, leaned against the wall, closed his eyes and prepared to sleep. Through the door, he could see that it was quiet outside. There was no sound of unlucky people being bitten by zombies, nor was there any sound of zombies. It was surprisingly quiet. Chapter 75 Mutated Chicken. December 4th, 2114, the third day of the apocalypse, Gogu at dawn. The crowing of a rooster broke the silence. Xiao Yao quickly grabbed the shovel beside him. It's this damn rooster again. I must kill you all today. Xiao Yao listened carefully. The crowing sound was not coming from the chicken farm next door, but seemed to come from this yard. Could it be that a rooster from next door flew over the wall and landed here? If so, the problem would be serious. This sound would likely attract the attention of the zombies around, and this place would not be safe. What should I do? Jinlian also woke up at this time, and was also awakened by the sound of the rooster crowing. Of course, she also knew the seriousness of the problem. Sister Jinlian, there is no time. You should pack up quickly. Take the useful things with you and discard the useless things. Travel light. I will go see if I can kill this rooster. If not, we will evacuate quickly. Xiao Yao looked solemn. If this place was also captured by zombies, they would have nowhere to hide. After all, the door of the house next door had been broken long ago. It was unknown whether there were zombies next door following the smell of blood. There was no way to hide next door. At this time, they could only kill this annoying rooster quickly or run away directly. Xiao Yao wrapped a towel around her mouth and covered her mouth. I will go to the yard to see if there is any way to kill the rooster. Xiao Yao opened the door and quickly disappeared into the thick fog. The chickens in the cage were easy to kill. They could just catch them and chop them up. However, Xiao Yao was not sure to catch the chickens outside. After all, chickens can fly when they are anxious. Be careful. Before Jinlian finished speaking, Xiao Yao had already rushed out the door. Jinlian started to pack up quickly. There was nothing to take with her. Most of them were from Uncle Wang's house next door. Damned rooster, I'll kill you today and let you eat roasted chicken. Xiao Yao held a shovel, bent his body and quietly walked towards the sound of the rooster's crowing. He wanted to take advantage of the rooster's inattention and slap it to death. Go you! The crowing competition started one after another in the yard next door. Xiao Yao tilted his head and looked in the direction of the next door. Don't worry, I'll make you all roasted chicken later. Xiao Yao said viciously. From the sound, there was only one rooster running over in this yard. It was not a big problem. As long as this rooster was eliminated, the zombies would only be attracted to the next door, and then they could brush another wave of experience. Xiao Yao turned a corner and found the rooster behind the screen wall. The rooster was facing away from him, with its neck raised to the sky, ready to crow again. Die! Xiao Yao raised the shovel and slapped the rooster hard. The rooster, who was about to crow, was instantly silent, and the crowing was stuck halfway through, as if someone had pinched its neck. -26. A big red damage reduction appeared in Xiao Yao's field of vision. -26. A critical hit. I'm afraid this rooster was killed instantly. Then Xiao Yao found a circle of ripples on the head of the rooster in front of him, and a few small stars. The rooster's head was also spinning, as if it was drunk. What is this? A sign of dizziness? Moreover, why is the health bar of this rooster still so long? Xiao Yao was stunned. Don't these broiler chickens only have 20 health points? How come the health points only dropped a little after I dealt 26 damage? Xiao Yao realized that the attributes of this rooster were not what he originally thought. Mutated broiler chicken, undead creature, level 2, combat power 11, health 110. My turfac, the chickens are mutated. Xiao Yao was stunned. The chickens are mutated? And they have also upgraded to higher level? Cluck. 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 The stunned rooster woke up from its dizzy state, screaming and flapping its wings to attack Xiao Yao. Xiao Yao was brought back to his senses by the rooster's voice and raised the shovel again. I let you scream, I let you scream. -12-13. He slapped it twice in a row. The damage of the next 2 times was pitifully low. The next 2 times did not cause dizziness to the rooster. The rooster flapped its wings and jumped up, as if it was excited and wanted to peck Xiao Yao. Xiao Yao dodged to the side and said, if you can't peck me, I'm a great lord. A man who has killed thousands of chickens, can he still be pecked by a rooster? The big rooster failed to hit the ground, and Xiao Yao hit it with a shovel again. Just one rooster was not worth his ultimate move, Thunderbolt Whirlwind Slash. This ultimate move has a strong after effect. Hey. Xiao Yao hit the rooster on the head with a shovel. -26 was a critical hit again, and the rooster was stunned again. Xiao Yao did not give up such a good opportunity this time. He took advantage of your illness to kill you. He hit it a few times, and the rooster's health bar was emptied and fell to the ground. Experience +11, money +11. A mutant rooster, giving such a little experience and money, is not enough to fill the gap, but compared with the 2 experience points given before, it is already a big explosion. Xiao Yao poked the dead mutant broiler with a shovel, turned the body of the mutant broiler chicken over, and picked it aside. There was a piece of red rock sugar under the mutant broiler's body, which was blood essence. A sign appeared in the inferior blood essence detection glasses. Did the mutant broiler explode with inferior blood essence? Because the mobile phone space was full, Xiao Yao did not pick up the inferior blood essence when picking up the pet cockroach. Xiao Yao picked up the inferior blood essence on the ground and turned over the mutant broiler's body a few times. There were no other items. Xiao Yao quickly ran back to the north room. Although he did not lose much blood, he needed to digest this new situation. He had to replan. The broiler had mutated, and its life had also increased 5 times. What was more terrifying was that the broilers were not at the mercy of others, but were now also aggressive. How is it? Have you killed them? Already killed. Oh, that's good, it's safe for the time being. No. What's wrong? The broiler has mutated, just like those zombies, and has become aggressive. Their life has become harder and harder to kill than before. Xiao Yao did not say that the life of the broiler had increased 5 times. This life and combat power were even higher than those of ordinary humans. Ah, the broiler chickens are mutated? Then, wouldn't the chickens next door be all mutated? Wouldn't it be dangerous for us here? I don't know how many chickens are left next door. The doors and windows of the next door have been broken for a long time. I'm afraid that the remaining broiler chickens have almost mutated into mutant broiler chickens. The number should not be low. Xiao Yao frowned. If the remaining broiler chickens next door were still the original broiler chickens, with 20 health points and no aggressiveness, after a turn of Thunderbolt Whirlwind Slash, experience points would be gained, and chicken could be obtained, which could be used as food in the future. However, this mutant broiler not only has high health points, but also has aggressiveness. More importantly, it does not drop chicken. However, there are good aspects as well. The experience points have also increased several times, and the level 2 mutant broiler chickens will drop inferior blood essence. Although Xiao Yao does not want to eat inferior blood essence at present, because the side effects of this thing seem to be very large, but this thing should be useful, just like money, who would complain about having too much? Moreover, killing these mutated broiler chickens is much easier than killing a zombie. The day before yesterday at the chicken farm, after I killed all the chickens, there should have been 2,455 left. After being attacked by zombies, because of the zombies' low IQ, they may not have eaten many. Moreover, these zombies were later lured out by me for barbecue. Some of the broiler chickens escaped from the destroyed cages. According to conservative estimates, there are at least 1,000 broiler chickens left next door. And now, I don't know if all of these 1,000 broiler chickens are mutated. If all of them are mutated, then this is not a trivial matter. The massive amount of experience is enough for me to upgrade to level 11, and there are also a lot of inferior blood essence. However, the number is too large. If a chicken pecks me, I will burp. Xiao Yao can't guarantee that he will not be injured under the siege of more than 1,000 mutated broiler chickens. This is too difficult. Losing blood after being pecked is secondary. Xiao Yao is afraid of being pecked and turning into a zombie. Xiao Yao was a little bit puzzled last night. Why was it so quiet, without a single movement? Now that he thought about it, with so many mutant chickens, even zombies, which were low-level undead creatures without intelligence, would be scared. There were 2 options before him. He could pack up and run away before these mutant chickens flew to this yard. Otherwise, he could find a way to kill these mutant chickens, which would give him a lot of experience in low-quality blood essence. This was probably his only chance, because he didn't know how many levels these mutant chickens would reach when they met next time. By then, he would probably face thousands of mutant chickens that were no weaker than himself. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.